better call somebody.
Hola, muchachos. Welcome to the kNights podcast. I'm your host, Kekoa, and with me tonight is Ben.
Hola, muchachos!
We can't tell we've been on kind of a wrestling-ish kick, although all of our references usually stem from the 90s wrestling when we really watched it. We watched wrestling
Back in my day!
Exactly. Oh my gosh. For those that didn't know, that was the New Age Outlaws. Back in the 90s, right? I think in the 2000s.
I hadn't heard of them. They're before my time.
Whatever. You're an old timer just like me.
No, that.
There's no denial here. Everybody knows the truth. We both
No, I don't know that. I know this one.
Don't be that guy. Oh, well, no. So you can be that guy, but I think pretty much the people that really like John Cena usually are below the age of 18. 15.
But he's Marine.
10?
He puts boots to asses.
So I'm told. This is what the kids like these days.
Boots up their ass?
No, they like to see that done.
Oh.
Because otherwise that's not right, I'm pretty sure.
They deserve
We can't show that. I'm not saying who deserves what. We can't show it. Not on TV.
Whoever
Not
the
in this
enemy
era.
of John Cena is the enemy of me. Mine enemy.
This is welcome to the John Cena podcast. But yeah, welcome to the podcast. Not the John Cena one, the Taco Nights
kNights.
podcast. I can understand if you're confused now. We'll be moving on.
I think we're supposed to say be more inclusive.
What?
Brochachos and brochachas.
Was Brochachos gender neutral?
I think so. That's what I thought.
I'm gonna go with that because the other parts are kind of a mouthful. It encompasses everyone. It's more of a. It brings everyone together. Brochachos brings everyone together, whether you're male, female, or other. Whatever.
Just go through the vowels, cover them all.
It's dangerous to go through all.
Shot.
No. We'll stick with the one. We'll do it live.
I was making my way down the I.
You can put that in yourself. We can't put it in the podcast. We'll have to edit it. You will be edited by yourself. So you're going to edit it.
And you will be missed.
We did not take that from anywhere else. So how you doing, Ben?
This is totally different reference.
How you doing?
Good. Good.
What have you been up to?
Work.
You got the new 3DS, didn't you?
It's still in the box.
It's still in the
right
box.
there on the table.
I can see it from
I'm
here.
waiting for a case.
I
don't want to get scratchy.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll scratch it up.
You're going to
And
scratch
then,
it
well,
up.
the thing is, like, for that one, I'm actually waiting to get the case so that I can get the decal that I'm about to put on there. I haven't ordered it yet, but gonna get a decal.
You
Still
get
trying to choose one.
because you wanted to get
And then have it protected
the Zelda one
in the case. The one that you have.
right, but it was sold out, so you're gonna go decal, but then you're gonna use the case on it, right? Which you're
Yes.
waiting for the case,
So that way the decal won't get scratched off of me putting it in my pocket or throwing it in a backpack or something like that.
It's understandable. I think I had it. I don't have a case for mine. Mine's all natural, so it's probably gonna get scratched up. Probably.
It's already scratched.
Probably. I don't really notice. It still looks nice. I mean, maybe if you look at it in just the right light, you can see scratches. Oh, yeah, there's one. See, I had to look at it a little bit, though. But I think I had a case for my old 3DS, actually. But the funny thing was, like, the case itself, the clear case that I'd gotten for it, was all kinds of scratched up. So it had protected my 3DS, but it made it look really crappy because the case was all scratched up. So it's just like, wow, I have the protection, but I'm protecting something that looks really crappy. It's like, now it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, what's the point of protecting it at that point? I guess you're gonna protect it so it doesn't break, or so it doesn't get scratched,
Well,
or
more
is
this.
it both?
Well, because it's going to be a decal on
Well-
there, then I don't want to scratch through the decal and
Right.
have that messed up. So have it look nice, and then if the case gets all super scuffed and looks not so,
You get another case.
yeah,
Right.
for like $5-10 or however much it's going to go for,
Nah, I can't go for that.
rather than $200 for a new system.
Well, I'm not gonna get a new system if it gets scratched. But if it breaks,
I'm going to get a can of turtle wax and that'll buff right out.
I'll buff that right out. I don't know. I tend to like to have my stuff without cases. Although I do have one on my phone now. But when I think when I got the iPhone originally, I didn't have a case for it because like it kind of buried all the stuff I liked about it. It's like, ooh, look how slick and it looks. This is back in the iPhone 5 or something, or 4S or something like that. Basically, I liked how it looked,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to cover it up with a case and go, well, now it's kind of like that. I mean, eventually I did get at least a case for the edges, so,
So
I
you can
kind
show off
of
the sexiness of the front and back.
Yeah,
Front side, back side.
it was a little bit of in between at that point, but because it needed some protection, because I'm definitely not the cleanest or the unclutziest person. I'm not even sure that's a word, but I usually don't get cases because I just want to. I was like, oh, it's so cool the way it is, kind of thing. They
Right.
designed it this way, but I get the reasoning for it because, like I said, I already got a scratch on mine. If you hold it just the right light, you can see it. I will never hold it in that light again.
I scratched off the limited editionness of my DS.
The whole thing, just a big scratch across the middle, kind of thing.
It slid across the parking lot.
But you're waiting for your case so you can finally play yours.
Yes.
So you ain't. Well, you saw Corey's before when you guys talked about it, I think 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw his, and that was awesome. Made me want it even more.
Right. Yeah, and now you have it. Is it hard not to just open it and just play just a little bit? You don't have to take it anywhere. You just take it out of the box, play it, put on gloves. Don't even have it leave this room. Just keep it super safe. But get your hands on it. Or you're like,
Well,
I'm good.
I'll at least wait to get the decal on there, so that way I don't have like the oils from my hands on the thing. Because I gotta apply the screen shield too, which I never had, but it's already been purchased, so I guess gotta use it.
Oh, the screen shields.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. As long as you put it on right and it doesn't distract from it. Like if you put it on kind of, I guess these ones don't bubble, but I've had a lot of trouble in the past. Even ones that say, oh, these don't bubble. I'll find a way when I'm putting it on my phone or any kind of screen where it's still...
Well, that's usually a speck of dust that gets right underneath it.
Yeah, but I'll clean it off. I'll shine it up real nice.
Turn the
No,
sideways.
I'm not going to do that. We'll stop at the shining of real niceness.
Just keep it shiny.
Just keep it shiny. That's all we're trying to accomplish here. But then I'll try to put it on,
Put
and
it on real nice.
every time it's always got the bubbles, probably from the dust. But it's just, I'm so terrible at that. I can't do it at all. But I guess you can, and you're gonna have to, because you got it.
Yeah.
Carrie's pretty good at it. So I just usually have her do it because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go through like 3 of these, like the whole pack. So why don't you just do the first one and then we'll just call it even. So then I'm not like opening every single one of them and failing over and over again kind of thing. But I mean, yeah, you haven't got to play yours yet. And you had the old 3DS.
Yes.
Like the original 3DS. Right?
The G1 3DS.
Right. So this
one that came out
one's-
so early, I was an ambassador.
This one's, yeah, you had the ambassador program on yours where you got the free games and such.
Yeah, so mine's actually loaded with a bunch of games, so I have to transfer all that over to the new one.
But this one, it's better in every way
Yes.
than yours is. Yours, which you must really be looking forward to this one. Looking to play some
But I guess the case is backordered right now, so it doesn't look like I'll be playing it anytime soon. But that does give me more time to actually look for a decal that I really want to get.
There you
And
go.
it's like, oh, cool. Then I can get stuff. I can like make an R2D2 case, but then it's kind of hard since this is black.
Ah,
So then I'm like, I'll do Wally instead. He's cool.
well, there you go.
They don't make Wally ones.
Of course
Not good ones anyway.
But you already got your games lined up that you're gonna play. Did you get you got the Majora's Mask, right?
Yes.
Which came out the same time as the new 3DS came out,
right.
and it takes, I guess, advantage of the new 3DS. Well, not really. I think you can play it on the old 3DS. That one, you can play.
But you can play it in 3D the whole time.
Right. Which I have been. I've actually left my 3D on. It gets kind of wonky sometimes, though, I found. Like, sometimes it loses track of my head, I think. So
I think that has more to do with the lighting, though, right?
It probably does. Or, like, if there's something behind... If it's having trouble telling where my head is
You're
versus
wearing
behind
like a
me.
really blingy hat.
I'm not sure. No, I just...
Cannot compute.
Not sure what it is, but sometimes it gets a little. It's better than the old one, much better than the old one, because the old one, it didn't even try to fix it. It just like, well, you're out of the range.
Which
Too bad.
Yeah. So this one you can actually use the 3D feature on fighting games, racing games, any game that requires you to have a little more than subdued button mashing.
I've been kind of playing my 3DS more often now since I just got it, so I wanted to kind of focus on using it as much as possible. So I got the Majora's Mask, so I've been playing that off and on, but I also downloaded, there's a free-to-play game that Nintendo put out called, I believe, Pokemon Shuffle. It's kind of like a puzzle game in the vein of like your Match 3, like a Bejeweled or a Candy Crush kind of thing, but it uses Pokemon. And then what you do is when you complete the puzzle, if you do it in the time limit, you get an opportunity to catch the Pokemon, and you kind of use the Pokemon in the puzzles. Like they're the pieces, and each puzzle is you're fighting a different Pokemon. So if you get Pokemon that are like strong against the one you're fighting, like you can set up your team, kind of thing, of 4 pieces, and then if they're super effective, they do more damage to the Pokemon when you're fighting it or when you're matching them up. Because every time you match it up, it does damage to the Pokemon that you're fighting. But some of them have, like, complete this in 15 moves. So you can only do 15 moves before you lose. Some of them are complete in 3 moves, kind of thing.
I hate those even more.
Exactly. But
5 times more than the one in 15 moves.
But the thing about this game was, and a lot of people have been complaining about it, was it's a free-to-play game, so you can't just buy it straight out. And it runs on a heart system. So every time you play a puzzle, win or lose, it takes a heart away. And you can only have about 5 hearts, and it takes about 30 minutes to regenerate a heart. So like I said, win or lose. If you win and you do perfectly and you catch the Pokemon, you still lose the heart. So it's not like Candy Crush where it's like you only lose the heart when you lose, or you have to try again. This one, every time you try it,
wring out some more money from you.
It really is, because the thing is, you can beat the puzzle part, and then after that, it gives you the opportunity to catch the Pokemon. So depending on either how, like, there's a bar that says your chance of catching it, and after you win, it's like a little percentage. And for every extra move you have left, like if you beat it and you have 5 moves left, it adds to that bar, kind of thing. So the better you do in the puzzle, the better chance you have for catching whatever the Pokemon is. But you can miss it. You can throw the ball, you can miss that last part, you'll still lose the heart, and you have to do the puzzle again. And there's nothing you can really do to control that part. It's just like, well, here's your chance to catch it. But either way, you lose the heart, and but there's the thing, you can buy, with real money, you can buy jewels, which you can convert into hearts, if you like. But everyone's saying that, once you get later in the game, you can kind of burn through those 5 hearts in really a couple minutes, not even that long, because every puzzle you do automatically takes a heart away. So even if you do really well, and you're still going to run out of hearts really quickly. And this is the model. I think this is their first one that they've done that's kind of like this microtransaction game. And people are like, I'd buy the game if they just sold it, so I wouldn't have to deal with all this heart crap where, you know, I'm having to wait, because you kind of get into the game and you want to keep playing, but you can't ask friends for hearts, I don't think. So you can't even bother people like you do in those other games to give you hearts or anything. You can't even
like your smartphone games.
Right, you can't even do that. So it's really, you either wait, which everyone kind of does, or you pay the money. But it seems like a poor model.
That's the funny thing, too, is like Nintendo, they were kind of resisting the whole movement to the mobile platform. And they didn't want any of their content on there, and now they totally opened up to it, and they're... Well, not totally, but like... They're pretty set on trying to work their way into that market, seeing how lucrative it is for everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of money to be had.
Except it seems like they're...
But they're just
being a little
jumping into it. Like, I remember watching a video basically where it's like called Extra Credits. It's like kind of where they look at video game stuff like that, discussions kind of thing. And they're talking about microtransactions. Like, there's good microtransactions, the one where the player kind of wants to buy, like, you know, they don't feel like they're getting ripped off or anything.
It's like an enhancement almost to the game. Like, in a way, it's almost comparable to like DLC.
Right.
Where other ones are just like...
If it feels to the player like they're specifically getting kind of put upon to buy, like they can't advance without paying money, that's usually like what rubs players the wrong way, is when they feel like they're being forced into buying whatever it is to continue the game. Versus,
you never want to rub anything the wrong way.
Right. Never want to do that. No, I'm not even going to go there. But I mean, this first outing has kind of caused some people to be, and me too. I mean, I like the game, but I wish you could just pay a flat fee and just play the game.
And now you're gonna look at him with a bit more reserve.
Yeah. I mean, but I think everyone has become kind of like that with the mobile platform too.
But it's Nintendo.
It's not trust
mobile.
Nintendo.
It's portable. It's a different platform.
But I think people are more weary of microtransactions now.
Yeah, it's integrating almost... Well... I just keep thinking about the N-Gage. Like the phone... Wait, was that a phone too?
Yes.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
Well, it was more a phone that technically played games.
Or the PSP... No, Xperia Play. Which was a phone that also... worked like a PSP.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, although technically those were
Nintendo phone.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Because those never work. But they were kind of on the right path. Being able to play games on your phone, because we'd have that now. Their approach was not quite right, though, because they tried to combine a DS or a PSP with a phone, versus just having it be able to access it without having to swap out games, which is what we do now.
Yeah.
But they were ahead of their time because we didn't have really the technology to really get you your games that easily, where you just download it and play it.
Steam.
So it really, like I said, they're kind of ahead of their time, and which made them cumbersome, and no one really wanted to use it or talk into that taco they called a phone, the N-Gage, that is. And I think you had to take out one version of that phone. You had to take out the battery in order to change games in it. And that isn't cumbersome. And, you know, who wants to do that?
That's just ridiculous.
But yeah, you have full access to stuff like a Steam on your mobile, where you just have the marketplace.
Yeah.
And Steam, where you just access your stuff that on the cloud.
They're releasing the Steam consoles this year too. Like, they have all the different manufacturers for it. Like, third-party vendors and everyone. So it's like Steam consoles.
I wonder how that's going to work. I mean, I haven't really put much thought into it, actually, because...
Yeah.
But a lot of people that use Steam, or basically everyone who uses Steam, has a PC. So anyone who would know what Steam is probably already has a PC, so assumably they're going
Maybe they're trying to get into the tap
to the console market, the people that don't own PCs kind of thing.
The ones who are afraid of PCs.
Right. They're trying to, like, you don't have to get a PC. You can have the PC experience with our Steam console.
Isn't that kind of what the Xbox was originally? It's like PC but turned console, and then now it's just console.
Now it has become what it was trying to emulate.
Yeah.
So, assumably, Steam will eventually, years down the line, become just a console and not be an emulation of
Steam 360.
PC. Yeah, there you go. One day.
Steam 1.
But it is interesting. I mean, it is interesting. I don't know too much about the Steam console. I mean, technically, the consoles are, I mean, they're not as powerful as the most powerful PCs out there, but they play kind of the same games.
They're more powerful than the consoles out right now. Like, a lot more powerful.
Oh, PCs?
The Steam console that's coming out.
Oh.
Consoles, plural.
So it's a powerful computer, essentially.
Yeah.
In a console form. But then, the thing is, like, is it like a console you hook up to a TV kind of thing?
Yes.
Like you would a normal console.
Yes.
So, and does it have a keyboard like a PC? Is it supposed to function like a PC? Or is it supposed to function like a console?
Where it has like the two touchpads. Well, the touchpad's on the back, clickable touchpads, I think. And then on the front has those big two circle pads that are also touchpads on the front. And then one analog stick on the right side, and then the 4 diamond button configuration on the right side for that, the buttons, and left side for the analog stick.
So I guess in theory they're trying to build something that accesses Steam, basically, and you can play your Steam games. And so it's things like that. But I mean, because like it's consoles now, like your 360 or not your Xbox One and your PS4, even your 360s and PS3s, we're already playing kind of a lot of the same games that the PCs were, except for some that were very, very PC. They usually used a keyboard and mouse, like because they didn't really work with a controller. But like a lot of the third party shooters or shooter games were like on both console and PC anyway. So I guess it'd be the Steam. I guess we're trying to figure out what the Steam console essentially is trying to do that the other consoles do not do.
What's your angle?
What's their thing that's, I mean, I like Steam. I enjoy it. I like having it on my PC and the ability to like download the games I have and not have them installed all the time. And the ease of use with it. But the Steam console, I guess I'm unsure of what it's trying to get. Like it's trying to carve out its own console portion or something away from Xbox, Microsoft and Sony. Is that what it's trying to do, or?
I think it's all about money.
Yeah,
that's what everyone does nowadays.
I mean, but you got to have a plan. Like, what are they supposed to be offering that the other consoles that everyone who already is a console gamer already is kind of stuck with, basically, or they're already real well in their camp. So I'm not a PC player. I play on my Xbox whatever or my PS whatever it happens to be at the time, and that's what I stick to. Maybe they're trying to introduce them into a PC kind of world without having them use a PC, but now they're still using a controller, which I would think a lot of those PC only games tend to use the mouse and keyboard because that's the best way of playing those particular games, because they don't lend themselves to playing on a controller. But I mean, maybe I guess I'm missing something somewhere.
You and everyone else.
I mean,
You're not the only one.
I mean, I guess there are games that Steam offers that they don't offer, kind of thing. But I mean, I was thinking, I was like actually on Steam, which I hadn't been playing on my PC for a while because I've been playing my 3DS, and I heard this game called Five Nights at Freddy's. I'd seen a video on it. I remember it was all popular for a while, but then I'd recently seen a video on it, and it's kind of it's a horror game, I guess, but it's kind of like a jump scare kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Like Slender or Slender Man kind of thing. I think. I don't know. The problem was, like, I saw the video, I was like, oh, that's interesting, because it takes place all in this kind of Chuck E. Cheese-esque place.
Huh.
Yeah, and you're like the night security guard, but the animatronics, it's Chuck E. Cheese at the Chuck E. Cheese place, but this is a different one. I can't remember what they're called, what their names are, but they're basically the animatronic versions of the Chuck E. Cheese ones. But apparently at night, they come to life and apparently try to kill you, essentially. I kind of know. It seemed interesting, the theory. I'm like, huh. And I was like, wow, I kind of want to play that.
Night at the Museum in a scary video game format.
Right, and a terrifying, the animatronics are coming to life and want to kill me sort of thing. But I thought the premise was interesting, because you look at cameras or something, and you're kind of tracking them. You're not moving around. You're like in the office, but you're tracking through the cameras. I'm not exactly sure how it works. Maybe I'll play it.
And then they come through the camera.
Well, you can see them on the cameras moving down the hallways or something. I'm not sure if you're supposed to be catching them or stopping them somehow from getting to the office that you're in.
It's like, this is my panic room.
Basically, it's the one with the cameras, but they're headed that way or something like that. And I guess 5 nights is like you're supposed to survive 5 nights.
You can't just nope out of there.
Which, when looking at the game, like, I totally not getting paid enough to do this, because I see one of those moving, like, done, leaving. I'm not coming back for my next shift, I guess, but I gotta play the game to understand what it's about, because I think there's 3 of them now. And it was, so I kind of wanted to play it after I saw this, because I thought, oh, that's interesting. But I don't play a lot of horror games, and I was like, I could play this game, but then I wouldn't sleep.
I need the lights on.
The darkness would come get me. Is what I was running through my mind as I was like, should I buy it? I was really I'd seen it in the morning, and then when I was at work, I was kind of thinking about it through the day. Like, I really kind of want to try that game. And then I was like, I don't know if that's good, because I don't play a lot of scary games like those, like Amnesia and stuff like that. Do you play them at all?
No, I know Ethan did. He had the fear game, and I think I was telling you the story last time. Well, I forgot when, but we were all in his room. He just got his new surround sound set up. So he had I think the Logitech THX certified series that was 5.1 or 7.1 or something like that. And so he sits in the dark in the room with the lights off. So he's just playing by the glow of the monitor and the LEDs on the keyboard and all that stuff.
The darkness.
Yeah, so we're sitting behind him. You can hear all the stuff going on all around you because he has that thing cranked way up.
For maximum terror.
Yes. So you're in the dark. The only bright thing in the room is the screen, and you're totally focused on that. And jump scare.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, crap, damn it. And then he starts playing, and then you get a little bit further, the music starts to pick up and change, and that's one of the things is when the thing's about to happen, they totally use the soundtrack
right
really effectively, and jump scare. And then
I remember you telling me this, because I've played all the Fear series. I have played those ones because Fear is kind of a horror first person shooter. It's like a cross genre thing, so it's like horror, but you have a gun. You can't shoot the ghost, but
he tried shooting the ghost, and then
it's a ghost.
It's a ghost. He doesn't do anything. He's like, why do I have this?
Because yeah, because there's a ghost in there, but there's also between the scary parts, there's actually soldier fights. There's another storyline going on. With the ghost. She's there. It's experiments gone wrong kind of thing. But then the other parts of the game, you're just fighting Call of Duty kind of cover, shoot the nameless soldiers until you get to the next area kind of thing. So that's where the cross is. You got the scary part, and then you just got to shoot everything till it dies part and becomes Ghost, I guess. But when I played the Fear series, I was I played it almost in a way so it wouldn't be scary. Not in the cinematic, I don't know if he was playing it this way where you're
sound off.
No, you're playing it where you walk slowly down the hallway, like in a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're looking around, what's gonna happen kind of thing. In a cinematic way, I'm like,
and
nope.
then the music starts to build up and everything as you get closer to the thing.
Right.
Sneaking around the corner. It's I know it wants me to look around this corner here. What's it gonna do in the music? And then
Yeah, you can play it that way because you can kind of feel when it's really building to something, as you probably could tell. Not the way I play. I nope the heck right through those levels. So, like, you can tell they have sections that are like long hallways. You're like, okay, something's gonna happen down here, and I'm supposed to be scared by it, but I'm just like, I hit like the run button. I just run down the hallway so that when the effect happens, like the ghost pops jump scares in front of you, I'm already past it. I like run right through her.
like, I can't pass. I'm safe.
or basically it's like, wait, what happened? Something happened, kind of thing, because it's programmed to jump scare, but I just ran like I was running headlong, like whatever, kind of like. So I'm not playing it correctly. I don't think. Not very cinematic. Not as intended. It'd be a crappy movie to watch because I'd be just like bolting through there. Because I'm like, oh, don't want to be scared. Just want to run through here. And that's how I got through most of
He totally played it like the movie.
Well, because he had an audience now. So exactly. If I had people
it's like you're
there,
supposed to go down the sewer. And then you go in the sewer. It's like kind of really dimly lit, echoey, and then all that. Lights flickering. Long hallway. So he starts creeping down the hallway. All of a sudden, you see something. You're like, what the heck was that? And you stop. And then you start to proceed slowly again. All of a sudden, it just jumps right up at you. Or not jumps, but like
it's far away and
really
then
fast.
Now it's closer to you.
And then he's like, ah! So he's like shooting and he backs up, like just runs backwards and runs up the ladder backwards. He's back on the street and then he looks down. He like kind of edges over the hole and looks down and like, what was that? Heart's racing and everything.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yes.
You're supposed to do it that way. But I didn't because I had a gun and I could run. So I'm like, gonna keep moving. Can't be scared. Just gotta keep moving.
That's a design flaw in the game. You're not supposed to be able to run.
Just dash right through whatever they spent a lot of time. But I think in the Five Nights at Freddy's, you don't run anywhere. You're literally just stuck in one position, and things are coming at you. So my way of getting past it wouldn't work. I'd be a failure. I'd probably just be jump scared to death, basically. Because that's what a lot of it is, I think. I'm going to have to play it. Now that I've talked about it on the podcast, I'm going to have to play it, kind of thing. Because then I could report back on it. Even though it's like, I think the third one just came out or it's coming out, so maybe I'll have to play through them. Because I don't think they're terribly long, I don't think. But, I mean, like, another game I played when I was younger, I think it was on PS1 or PS2, is called Clock Tower. And basically, you're playing as this woman who's, I guess, trapped in this house. I'm trying to remember it, but I just remember that, like, there's no real music plays. It's all kind of just your footsteps, and when you open stuff, you hear those sound effects, but there's no music playing. The antagonist on that is this, basically this hunchback boy or man or something with giant scissors that's coming after you, and the only time the music plays is when he's near, like he's coming in the room or he's like right near you. So you have no other sound effects playing. Then you hear the music, and you know you're in trouble. And you don't have any weapons. In this one, you got nothing.
No batteries for a flashlight or anything.
No flashlight. Not even a battery. Not even a paperclip. Just looking to die, kind of thing. The best you could do is hide in places. Like sometimes you can open a door, open a closet and go in there, or open like a dresser drawer or something like that, or something where you can hide inside. But
and then the music gets louder and then softer or something like that.
It's still playing, but you're inside and you can kind of see because it's not first person. It's not really third person. You can see the whole room kind of thing. So you're hiding in whatever it is, hoping, because sometimes he'll go through the room, won't look at anything, and just leave, and sometimes he'll go through and stab directly through where you are, and it's all tense because you can't do it. It's not like you bust out and start shooting them or something. You just like
steal the scissors.
This is it. You're just like, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna die? Kind of thing. So it's super tense and it's simplistic. I mean, there's no weapons. It's all kind of just puzzles kind of thing. But I remember that I had trouble sleeping that evening, kind of thing. Kept seeing something with giant scissors coming after me.
How long ago was this?
Oh, this was many years ago. Probably like when I was in high school or something. So it wasn't recent or anything. But yeah, it was I think my mom came into my room and just scared. I had no idea why, but I just scared the heck out of me because it was like at night, like the lights were off, so the door opened, and I was just terrified, kind of thing. It was basically there's nothing to hide in.
Don't stab me.
Don't stab me. Yeah, I was not fully awake. I was almost asleep, so not wanting to have an experience like that again. Because, yeah, that sucks. Plus, the other thing is when I'm super tired, like, beyond just like, I could, I'm ready to go to sleep, just like I've been up way past when I should have gone to sleep, and because I've been working or something, or having to finish up something, and you know what it's like when you get super tired like that.
Yes.
When you're beyond tired, you almost can't sleep because you're too tired. I start hallucinating while I'm lying there. Like, I'll usually end up falling asleep, but end up waking up for some reason, and then everything I see, I'll start hallucinating about things I see around me. Like, I'll see actual things in the darkness, kind of thing. So much so that I know when it's going to happen. I'm like, oh no, I'm really tired. It's going to be one of those nights. So then usually I'll, like, if I'm coherent enough when I do wake up that time, I'll be like, okay, you're just really tired. That's not really something that's trying to kill you. Just go back to sleep.
Is it?
And then other times I'll wake up, not be so coherent, and go like, my room's trying to kill me. Can't sleep. Clowns will eat me. Basically like that. So it can be bad.
Sleep. Clowns will eat me. Can't sleep. Clown will eat me.
So imagine that with animatronic things now in my head, like trying to kill me. But I'm intrigued. I want to play the game, so I'm like torn. I'm like, I really want to know what happens.
I was looking it up really fast, and they're on their third sequel already.
Right. Because, I mean, the game is kind of simplistic.
Okay.
It's not, but they just add more things, I think, to it. I don't know. I'm going to have to try it, but the concept seems simplistic yet interesting. Because the reason I had seen it, because I'd watched this video. There's this video series I watched called Game Theories, where they kind of, the main guy comes up with theories about games, and he was talking about that particular game and the storyline behind it. Because there's like a subtle storyline in it, but then he talks about this real life incident that took place at a Chuck E. Cheese, like where people were murdered and stuff like that, and then like kind of like ties a parallel. I'm like, oh, that's creepy, kind of thing. Because like I think in the story for the game, they're talking about how, like, if you read some of the stuff, like there's like a newspaper article, like if you can not read it, but if you read it, it's like something about how 5 children went missing in this place, kind of thing. No one knows what happens, and they're saying how people reported that the animatronics started to smell of like kind of blood and mucus, kind of thing, and they were saying that someone lured
Rotting
the children
flesh.
Like in the costume into the back and like murdered them, and did something with the animatronics, and like I don't know, but that's kind of the sub storyline kind of that's going on, that maybe why these things have come to life at night, like it's at night at the museum, except with dying, kind of thing. I could probably watch a Let's Play. Maybe I'll do that. No, I gotta try it for myself. But yeah, scary games like the Fear series and stuff like that, except mine's without a gun. But you don't really play those, right?
No.
No?
I think I have it on Steam though.
You have that game?
The Fear series.
Oh, the Fear series.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like if you play it my way, it's not as scary. It's mostly like nope. You just nope right through the levels.
I think I turned it on and I played like maybe for 10 minutes and I turned it off.
There you go.
I'm like, I don't have time for this.
And
I don't
you
need this. I don't need this right now.
I remember we were watching, I think last Halloween, did we talk about it? Like that one game where it's like the multiplayer one where there's 4 people playing together,
Yeah.
and one of them is a monster,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Did we talk about that? I forgot what it was. I think it was Damned or something like that. I bought it. I bought the 4-pack so we could play, but you're too busy to usually play. But maybe for this Halloween we'll be able to get a game together of that.
LAN party.
Oh, LAN parties. You never see those anymore. But then again, there's not really, well, I was going to say local multiplayer, but I guess we could all bring our laptops over, and you'll play on your computer, your giant computer.
It's like, no cheating, don't look at my screen.
You remember that local multiplayer kind of stuff? We don't really have that anymore, where it's just a split screen.
Yeah.
But did you have, like, I think N64
GoldenEye.
was kind of the heyday, or I guess Halo, but yeah, whatever.
Mario Kart split screen on the SNES.
Oh wow! Well,
That
because
was
that only
split
have
screen.
two
Yeah.
split screen on that one.
So it wasn't that bad because TV screens weren't that big yet.
Yes, that kind of just worked just enough because you weren't.
But I had a 19-inch screen, and I was trying to play when the new variant of Mario Kart came out, and it had 4-player split screen. I'm like, holy crap, I can't see anything.
Think I'm winning. Nope, I'm running into the wall.
It's like, I didn't see that banana peel. It was just a yellow dot.
I didn't see that yellow pixel. How was I supposed to know that was a banana peel? But you don't really see that anymore. Now we have the internets and everything.
Yeah.
No one needs to sit next to each other and play and not cheat by looking at the other person's screen.
That's a big... Well, all those, like, shoot 'em up games, like GoldenEye and stuff, you're like, oh, where are you at? And you look at the screen, just glance over, like, oh, I'm coming to get you.
Yep. GoldenEye Perfect Dark, also a good one to play multiplayer. N64 had a lot of good local multiplayer games, actually. Actually, I think now even it seems like Nintendo's one of the only ones that has really kind of one of those local multiplayer games.
They're still focused on that demographic, and it's a pretty good demographic, too.
Yeah, because if you're having a party, it almost seems like if you have that system, then you can have, like, you have a lot of options.
It's almost synonymous with having, like, being the kind of social party console. Or if you have a PlayStation or an Xbox, it's like...
You're on your own, lone wolf.
Look how pretty it is.
Yeah.
One player.
Get away from me. Oh, you want to play together? Okay, go home. That's how you play together, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Best you could do is when you Skype and look at each other while you're playing. Then when you shoot
But
them...
it's the funny thing, though, like, the kind of game nights now, they're turning a little bit more retro, in a sense. Because then now you're playing, like, Cards Against Humanity, Munchkin.
Well, you have... It's more analog. It's less video games, more just board game.
Yeah, going back to the board game. They're bringing it back.
They're bringing it back, kind of thing. Because, like you're saying, the Xbox and the PlayStation tend to lend themselves more to either single player or multiplayer over the internet, where you're not actually next to anyone.
Right, like
so you
Call
can't
of
get
Duty.
together and play it. You have to separate and play them.
Yeah. Is it... Well... I'm kind of wondering about when the VR system is actually going to take hold. Because then everyone's going to be just sitting in the room on the couch with a controller in their hand. And then just... Well, actually... No, you would need room to move. You just have like the...
Well, if you
Omni
had the
treadmills.
Omni treadmills. But I think in the beginning, for now, it's just going to be, like you said, the controllers in hands and glasses on their faces.
Here's my game room. It's all VR headsets and Omni treadmills.
And it's just like a blank room.
Yeah.
Like nothing. It's like, there's no decorations here. Any decorations? Not going to look at it anyway.
Put this on. And then you hit a button. It's like, look, now it's decorated.
Now it's decorated, kind of thing.
Augmented reality.
Yes.
It's my holodeck. You call it the holodeck. You just have... You walk in the room, it's all painted black with like yellow grid lines on there.
I see
like-
what you're going for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I look forward to that time, but there seems to be a lot of VR technology. Like, I remember I went on and on about the Oculus Rift because I got to try it. I think I'm going back to this year, too, so it's definitely going to be like top of the list of just things to try. But
You're in the field reporter.
yes, I'll have to try some more stuff to get more reporting done. But there seems to be a lot of different companies really re-pushing VR, because there was a push back in the 90s, but the technology was way underpowered and really couldn't really do anything with it. But they tried to do VR, and it's like, well, that was a failure. That was a fad. But I think it just wasn't the right time. The technology just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Now it seems more ready. I don't know if it's probably not perfect yet, but a lot of companies seem to be throwing their hats into the
But
ring.
we've come a long way from the Virtual Boy.
The day after the Virtual Boy was a long way from the Virtual Boy, because that's a piece of technology there. And you never played the Virtual Boy, right?
I played the demos.
Really?
Yeah.
Like within a Virtual Boy. So you've been in the red zone.
Yes. It
as
hurts
were.
your eyes after you play for a while.
Oh yeah. I think the reason that it was even just red like that is because it was the cheapest thing to do. Like, it was already expensive to make, so
Yeah.
that was
I wanted one in all of its, 6 games?
there's, I think, a lot more, like 12. Like, I think you could fit the whole library in
Tennis.
2 hands kind of thing. And a lot of it isn't virtual reality, really. Like, it's barely
Red
3D, maybe. Like, a lot of the games aren't even that.
It's a red D.
I think I saw a review where the guy actually reviewed the entire library in one video. It did take a long time. There's just not that many games for it, probably because it failed, kind of thing.
But now it's like, if you have that, then you're like the most awesome person ever. It's like, look what I got. I got this, and I robbed the robot.
It is a weird kind of, like, it failed so hard that, yeah, I don't think I've seen one just seen one out anywhere. Like, I'd like to try it. And usually when I go to E3, they have, like, the old video game console set up. I never saw a Virtual Boy there. Probably someone might swipe it or something. I don't know. But, man, I would like to see it, at least for a little while, until my head started hurting, apparently, because that's a natural step.
And then you're like, I'm
apparently.
done playing with this. Where's my Super Scope?
Oh, my goodness. I had I think I petitioned for a Super Scope for Christmas one year, because I had a Super Nintendo.
I think we all did.
But I did not think of the dimensions of said Super Scope. I must have been thinking of the Zapper at the time, because I didn't have a very long room. Like, this distance from one end to, like, one end of my room to the TV, like, that way was actually pretty short. Like, my room was kind of more longer than it was wide, so, and the TV was on the wide side, so basically, if you've never seen the Super Scope, it's kind of like holding an RPG or a rocket
bazooka.
launcher. Yeah, a bazooka. And it's pretty big, so you kind of have to have a lot of space between you, or a good amount at least, because it's going to take... So I was practically on the TV with the thing, playing with it. I noticed my mistake after I got it. It's not going to work. But I mean...
This isn't your average Nintendo Zapper.
Right. Whereas the Zapper was fun, the Super Scope was cumbersome. And that's one of the nicer things I could say. The games were kind of fun for it. Battle Clash and such. I forgot what else I had on there. And the Super Scope game it came with. They were fun, but you had to use this awkward bazooka thing where you're looking down the sides and stuff. But you had one of those too?
Technically it was my brother's, because I think he got it for Christmas, and then my mom was like, oh, what does he want for Christmas? And like, Super Scope! Because then I knew I'd get in on some of that action too.
Ah, there you go. You're setting up your own future there. Well, maybe you had a better run with it. What do you think of it?
The room we played in was a small room, so yeah.
same dimensional
But we had
problems.
the TV was on the long side.
Ah,
of the
okay.
room, so we actually had the space.
Ah,
Because it's like, oh man, we gotta stand way back here next to the
to
door.
to get a decent shot at it.
It's like, don't open the door. I'm playing.
Did you have a Zapper?
My scope. My scope. I'm playing with my scope.
Playing scope. Did you guys have a Zapper, like the original NES Zapper?
No, I played a friend's and I always wanted one, like to get Duck Hunt and all that, but never got it.
It was a good light gun, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is way before.
I had
like,
a lot of fun when I
Namco.
went to my friend's house to go play it, though.
Yeah, and
Lots
then
of fun.
they came out with the Super Scope after. It's like, this is gonna be awesome. It's super not as good. Like, it was overly complicated. Like, where the Zapper was simplistic and fun, Just pick it up and play. I still have. I had gotten a Zapper later on, and the only problem is you have to use it on those tube TVs because
Yeah.
it doesn't work on LEDs, LCDs, or anything
That's almost
like that.
Time Crisis, because they had that for the PS2, and it was fun in the arcades. And then I bought the home version,
Right.
and I exactly like the arcade game pretty much,
Right.
except the gun had no recoil, which I'm like, oh, I gotta get a gun with recoil. It's make it more authentic.
Like the arcade.
Yeah. And then I got a LCD. I upgraded my computer monitor to an LCD screen. Like when those were starting to become popular and everything.
Right.
It's like, oh, I can actually use this as a TV and stuff too. And I was trying to play, and I think they eventually came out with one that was LCD compatible, but you had to put the sensors up on the top corners of the screen.
Well, I know that Time Crisis 3, the home version, yeah, it uses sensors because it can't use the TV like
yeah, I
it
think that's
normally would.
the one that I got.
Yeah.
And it worked, but not as well as like the one on the old gun on the tube TV. So I actually had the PlayStation set up on the old TV, set up to play Time Crisis. And then the other one, I had the sensors up on the LCD, but I barely use that one. So I still have a tube TV. I think one's a 19-inch, another one's probably a 36-inch. Haven't thrown those away. My parents want to get rid of it, but I'm like, but the possibilities of playing the old games.
Yeah,
Make a giant arcade cabinet to support a 36-inch tube TV that's super heavy.
I was gonna say, like, mine's isn't nearly that big, and it's super heavy.
But yours is an LCD though, right?
No, I have a tube TV. I think it's a 19-inch, maybe. Specifically for all, because I have a console setup with like kind of basically every console from Atari. Well, I don't have it in television or ColecoVision, but like NES, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Sega CD, NES, N64. Basically all those consoles, all the way up to I think PS2 and Xbox. I have all those set up to one TV. that TV, that older tube TV, because like the NES Zapper games, they don't work on the other one, so that one works there. I do have Time Crisis 1 and 2 and Point Blank,
Right.
and they only work on that TV. So, and plus there's something nostalgic of playing even the other games that I used to play on that kind of TV. Like I have a Retron 5, which basically plays those ones, and it connects to HD, so you can play it on your LCD. But there's something nostalgic about playing on the older TV,
Blowing on the cartridge.
which doesn't do anything or makes it worse, but that's what we all did, kind of thing.
And then you hit that side 3 times, and then you click it up and down.
Everyone had their own method, I think.
And then you hold the reset button and hit the power, and then you let go at the same time.
Everyone had their. I think mine's used to be. Well, I usually blow through this like a shirt, like I'd have the shirt over it, and I blow through it. So like, I don't know, it seemed to work for me. And then like I'd catch it when I went to go push it down. I'd catch it on the edge, like so it'd click down, kind of thing, and then play it that way. And that was my method. Everyone else had their own method.
Don't bump the console.
Don't even look at the console in any form or fashion, kind of thing. I mean, recently when I bought an NES, I had to do surgery on it, so I got to look at the inside. I'm like, oh, so this is how it is, because the original system where you put in the cartridge and you push it down, kind of thing, is kind of faulty actually. When it comes down to it, it's not the best design for it, because in the next version of the NES they had it was a top down where you just
Like the Super NES.
like the Super NES, you drop down, you just put it in, you didn't have to push down to have the pins connect, kind of thing.
I remember when they came out with that version, and I wanted to get it from Best Buy just because it's like, I don't have to blow it anywhere. I don't have to worry about it. It's just going to go in and connect.
It's going to go in and connect.
And my mom's like, it's too expensive. You already have one. You don't need another one.
I think the old one's technically better. I mean, that connection problem aside, like the newer one, I think only has, I think RF out or something like that.
Does it?
Certain versions of it, I think, do have AV, but they're like a special version, like go for a lot of money now on eBay for that particular one. But the standard one had like an RF out, which people complain about because it was cheaper. It was a cheaper version of the original NES. Like they changed it from the push down. They like streamlined it down to the smaller system. They even changed the controllers too.
Yeah.
To them, to like the dog bone, like the SNES ones kind of thing. So
dog
bone controller. But yeah, they did change a lot of it just to like save money. Basically, they like engineered it down. Like, well, it's the same system. Technically, mostly kind of thing, but we had to strip out a few things, and AV was one of those things on a lot of them that they stripped out. I'd heard that people complained about it though, like they're like, "Where's the AV?" Like when it first came out, and they like returned them to Nintendo.
I was just gonna swap it out. What the
I
heck?
think Nintendo sent them versions with an AV hookup on the outside, like there was a connection for it, just an AV cable. Kind of thing, but they were like returns to Nintendo and special from Nintendo, so those ones are extra rare now. I think the ones with that kind of hookup, unless you want to do your own soldering job and try to figure it out, mod it yourself. But otherwise, you could just get a regular Nintendo. I had to fix
and hope your TV has Channel 3 still.
Well, I had AVs on mine, so it was fine for mine. But yeah, if you want that NES 2, I think it was called. Marketed as
the new NES.
New NES. But I had to change out the pin connector in my NES, but now I don't have to push it down anymore. It's so tight, the pin connector, that I just put it in, and I was like, oh, I don't have to push it down to get to play. This feels weird. It's not like the old days. We had to push it down and make sure it's just right and wiggle it a lot. And then pray to whatever God you chose to hope that it A, worked, and B, continued to work until you finish the game. Because then, sometimes middle of the game, things go poorly. All of a sudden, glitch.
Because it's too loose.
Yeah. That's the problem with, if you pick up an NES, you might have to fix that part. Because they're kind of faulty, but...
Make it tight.
Make it tight.
Very tight.
Exactly. But yeah, I got the Retron 5, so... But there's just something about playing it on the old system that I was like, I want to have the old system kind of thing.
Well, one of the funny things I saw is, like, online you can see some of the systems making a comeback in a weird way. Like, the mods that I've seen are the Super Nintendo cartridges, where they buy a Super Nintendo... Well, they have an old Super Nintendo, and then they get some junk cartridge game that they don't care about. Open it up, toss the innards out, and cut the label off. And they'll get a Super Game Boy, and then shove in like a Pokemon Game Boy game into there. Change out the battery, close it up, put a new label on there, and then they'll have like red, blue, and green versions of the Super Nintendo cartridges. The Game Boy game.
Yeah, I've seen that where they mod, they take the cases kind of thing, and they mod them to different things like that. Also, I've seen like where they take games that never even came out in America, like Japanese only games, like Famicom games, and they have the ROMs now where you can just download the ROMs or basically the game off the board, and then you can like pay to have them, like they put it on a new board and put it in a new case kind of thing, so you can have an NES version of a game that never came out in the NES. It only came out on Famicom, which has this different cartridge type, but you can have this game now where it looks like an NES game and it plays like an NES game because they programmed it with the other game, but it's a game that was never released here kind of thing, and it's like reproduction carts basically, and there's a whole thing where they have those, or they have modded versions of like super hard Mario Brothers where it's like everything's trying to kill you, even the level's trying to kill you. where they just take the code, modify the code, and then put it back in the cartridge, and now you have this game that's completely different.
Yeah, I think that's kind of true. Like, the Super Mario 3D World for the Wii U, I've been playing through that, and it's kind of like the N64 version where you got to get the 3 stars in each level and everything, and then kind of once you have enough stars, then you can progress to the next section and so forth. And the Super Mario version on the N64 seemed harder than the Wii U version, which seems really easy. And then by comparison to the original ones on, say, Nintendo or Super Nintendo, it's a lot harder.
Yeah,
on the old systems.
I mean, because I think now I hear the term Nintendo hard for when making reference to like games that are hard now, which a lot of games now tend to lean towards. They want you to get to the end. They put a lot of hard work. They don't want to kill you before you reach the end. It might be kind of hard, depending on the game. Like, I think a Dark Souls is actually just trying to kill you. But a lot of other games, it feels like they want you to get to the end by some means. So they'll, it's not just hard for hard's sake, like some of the NES games we played back in the day, which it almost felt like, well, they may only get one game, so we better make it super hard, so they may never get through it, kind of thing. Or it'll take them a lot of effort.
Star Wars Return of the Jedi?
What, the arcade one?
We had to escape the Death Star? Well, go into the Death Star and then
What are you talking
blow
about?
the core and then...
Before that, like, the I'd say pod racer, but the, what's that one, the bike, speeder bike?
Forgot about that.
Yeah. We had, we were playing on my arcade machine that I have in my house. I was playing, was it Return of the Jedi? Return of the Jedi, right?
Yeah. You hit a tree and you respawn in front of the tree that you just hit.
Exactly.
No room to maneuver.
The arcade version, like, the first level is you get on a speeder bike and you're supposed to basically make it to the end, I think, of the quote-unquote track. And basically you're trying to dodge trees in this slightly isometric view, so it's like a diagonal, it's not even a straight-on view or anything, so you're kind of not exactly sure where everything lines up because it's at a kind of a diagonal view. But we kept hitting the trees so often, like you'd hit a tree and then put you basically 5 steps behind where you just crash, and then crash you into the same tree because it's going at full speed. And it was hilarious to us because we were just like, we just die, and then like game over. Exactly. And like, oh, that was quick. And then we'd play again, like, ooh, I missed that tree. And then die on the next tree. And just rinse and repeat, which, I mean, it's fine for us because we had free credits. But if you played that in the arcade, you put in your quarter, die your 3 times at the beginning, and then move on to the next game. Pretty much. I imagine that game, unless you really like the challenge and had the money, a lot of people just went, it's Return of the Jedi, this is gonna be awesome, and they'd play and like, oh, that was kind of quick.
I had the same feeling with the slot machines in Vegas. Like they've been coming out a lot more with the themed slot machines, and based on what's popular in culture right now, like pop culture. So they have like Walking Dead slot machines and all that stuff. But before then, they had the Top Gun slot machine, and that was one of the few in the beginning that actually I played. Was fun. They have like the subwoofer in the seat and everything, super bright lights and all these different features, and that actually paid out pretty well. And then now I can't find the Top Gun machine anymore. But they had other machines. They had Michael Jackson, Star Wars. Played that one. Just sucked to my money. It's like, man, this is just like those old arcade machines, but worse. My money's going to waste so much faster.
I always thought that those themed ones, the ones that are like, oh, I like that, that's really cool, are basically just there to take your money.
Yeah, it's a money grab.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm not going to win because I'm just paying to be there in front of it.
And part of what they do is like every time you spin, it plays part of the soundtrack, and then it stops until you hit spin again. So then you gotta, if you want to listen to the music, you gotta keep hitting that spin button. Keep betting, keep spinning.
It's like, this is my favorite song. I want to hear the whole thing. What's it gonna cost me?
Dun,
$300?
dun, 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 dun.
Awful. But I mean, you want to win because probably the mini games are going to be cool because they're going to be themed.
That's the other thing too. It's like it's just a mini game, and then you're waiting for the mini game to activate.
That's what you really want.
Yeah,
That's what you're really spending your money on.
And it doesn't happen. Like $40 later, $60 later, it's like, forget this, and then you leave, and someone else sits down. Bam, mini game.
That's my mini game. I paid for it.
Move, get out of my chair.
You get to watch this much of it because I paid for the rest of it.
And then when I actually did play and I hit the mini game, because like the next day, like, I got a feeling maybe I'll try it this time. I'll get it. You play the mini game. It's super short and lame. And like, what? I wasted all my money on this for.
There's no way to know. Well, I guess nowadays you can find out.
Well, nowadays I just walk right by it and I'm like, screw this.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to just see what the minigame looked like.
We just watch someone else.
Yeah, I was going to say, watch someone else, or you just go on YouTube and go, so what does this game look like? So you can actually look at games before you even try them nowadays. Or not try them at all, like, oh, that was lame.
Slot machine strategies.
'Cause that's how you win at the casino. Big winner.
Yeah, because that one, you have all the advantage.
Right. It's all in your hands.
No.
Best odds.
Best odds are you never play it.
Always
and
feel
you
like
take
a
that
winner
money
then.
and go eat at a buffet.
Unless they got lobster. Then you lose.
If you don't like lobster.
It's always a loss.
Not if you ask my parents. My parents would be like, seafood!
I hate lobster so much. Well, I don't really like
it's
shellfish.
Like a giant shrimp.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. That thing. I
And
definitely
you love
not.
shrimp. Dim sum.
I really do not enjoy shellfish. The texture's all wrong. Is I think the word I was looking for. Did I tell you about that buffet I went to?
Yeah.
Like, we were at the Indian casino and just we went to the buffet, which is a really nice buffet, but we were there on the weekend, like on Saturday, and that's when they have it as the lobster plus the rest of the buffet, but they also have lobster.
Well, they advertise as a lobster buffet. The only lobster buffet in that area.
Right.
Like, everyone else gives you crab legs, we give you lobster.
Which neither one I really want. But I had to pay for when we went into the buffet. I couldn't get a lobsterless buffet because it was like twice as much or something like that. It was super expensive for the one thing I was not going to eat. But I did eat out of sheer principle.
And because
Not
you're kind of
enjoying
forced
it.
to.
I could have easily not eaten it, but I ate it out of principle because I was like, I paid for this. And I went with my mom and Carrie, and neither one of them eats lobster either.
You twisted your own arm.
Yes, I did. I'm like, I paid for this, and I will pay for this now. And I forced myself to have one of those tails.
Yum. Oh.
Couldn't even manage a yum. Just managed a and just kept putting it in. Like, well, that happened. Meanwhile, other tables got like the empty lobster tails. Just like, oh, it's going back from
piles
yeah.
of
I'm
shells.
like, what is wrong with you? It's all wrong. It's not right. You don't mind. Do you like lobster? It's expensive, so you're supposed to like it.
It depends on how it's made and presented, I guess. Like, usually if I just had like a whole lobster on a plate and like, eat that. Like, break it apart with your hands. Here's butter.
Like a whole they just dropped a lobster on your plate. Just like, go for it.
Yeah. So you
Right.
snap off the head and all that.
Huh.
Break open the claws. Here's a shell breaker and all that stuff.
Are you supposed to eat all parts of it or something? I don't even know how you... I know they always sell lobster tails, like just that cut off, but if they dropped a whole lobster, I wouldn't even know which parts you're supposed to actually go at.
Yeah, you basically break the head off from the abdomen and then all the meat's in there, and
In
then
the
you
head?
Well, the abdomen
Oh,
part
okay.
and the tail. Then you suck the brains out or the juices out from the head,
Oh no.
and then you have the giant lobster claws, which you break open and pull the meat out of there and eat that.
No.
And you
Jeez.
dip it in butter, and it's like delicious and expensive and stuff.
And expensive.
Like, it's like caviar. It's expensive, so it's supposed to be good.
I think I remember hearing that way back in the day, like in early 1900s, something like that, back in Maine, like they served prisoners lobster. Because so many of them, the lobsters anyways, they were like the bologna of the sea, basically. It was like, we just have so many of them, we just feed it to those guys.
My baloney has a first name.
So back then, prisoners, is it still sophisticated if you've got tons of them and you just like want to get rid of them, kind of thing?
Well, that's almost like diamonds. Diamonds are actually a manufactured value. It's not, they got tons of it in a warehouse somewhere and they just slowly release it to keep the value up. And the whole thing is like marketing. It's a fairly common rock. But just how it was made. There's a really interesting Stuff You Should Know podcast on it, and they go into all this detail and everything. Oh wait, no, it wasn't Stuff You Should Know. It was one of the
I don't know. I don't think I
network.
can listen to it because I think it depressed me.
It would.
Ugh.
But
I mean, it well done
yeah,
on their part, for them.
I think stuff they don't want you to know.
Oh, great!
I think that's one.
I have to.
But I was listening to that, like, I'm still paying for my diamond.
I'm like, I don't
Would've
want
been
to
nice
know. I don't. Well, it wouldn't have changed anything. It would still had the same outcome. It's just maybe you would have felt worse earlier.
You wouldn't have splurged, maybe.
Well, because you can't change the circumstances of it,
Yeah.
I guess. It is what it is, and they're good at what they do, which is keeping the price high. I can't blame them for being that good at that, at looking out for their own interest. and while, I guess they're not the only ones. Like, society itself has become its own marketplace for it. So it's just like, it's the greatest thing ever. Diamonds, girl's best friend. Are forever. Every kiss begins with K. Wait, that's just George's place.
Yeah. No, but the Diamonds Are Forever tagline came way back, I think in the 1920s.
Huh.
And that stuck since then all the way till now. But before, they're like, diamonds? Why do we need this?
Diamonds are everywhere.
It was a big marketing campaign back in the day, and it's like, why would you need a diamond? And they came up with this marketing that had an emotional attachment to it, basically. So it's not the diamond, it's what the diamond symbolizes. And that's how they sold it, and how now it became...
Now the symbol is so powerful.
Yeah, pretty ubiquitous with weddings and just love. This is our relationship. It's going to be forever. And then in the news you hear all about, like, divorce rates are at an all-time high.
Yes.
So, diamonds, not what you want to invest in.
No,
Gold and silver still okay.
unless you're already on the one side of diamonds where you're making all the money.
Yeah,
and
if you're like
gaming the market.
was it the De Beers family?
Them.
And then I think they're one of the most well-known ones, but the family themselves sold the company or the name and rights and everything to someone else, and now they're kind of kicking themselves a little bit. But I think it's a conglomerate of sorts.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Lesson learned. Don't sell your diamonds.
That's the basic gist of it.
Apparently.
But lobster, still delicious depending on how it's made.
In a bisque form? With oyster?
Not with oyster. Just, if it was a lobster bisque, then yes.
I may not have been
If it
here
was
for that podcast, but I did hear it.
Yeah.
And apparently did not go so well.
With curry, coconut milk, and oyster, no.
Not a good recipe.
In a lobster roll, yes.
It would be weird if I had gone and done that. I'm like, this is the best lobster ever. It needs to be prepared this way all the time. And that's what it took for me to like lobster. It's like, I can only eat it this way. And you're like, this is horrible. This is the worst thing ever. It's like, this is the greatest thing ever.
It.
This is the only way I can eat it. It's great. That'd be weird.
You should try it.
No. I'm never going to like lobster.
You know, it was so crowded when we went for their special dinner offering for Valentine's. The section where we sat, they stuck us way in the back corner.
Huh.
And it was supposed to just be one table in that corner because it's supposed to be for like a larger party. And they broke it up into 3 tables. So you had one where they shoved the table into the corner, and the couple, they were sitting not across from each other, but one was on one edge, and then on the edge next to them was the other person. So they're sitting like at a 90-degree angle to each other. It's like, that's weird. Why don't they just pull the table out? It's like, oh, then they can't get to our table because we're further back in the corner.
Oh.
But at least you sat across from each other. So it didn't feel so weird.
Not at 90 degrees.
But it was a 2-person table. They're bringing all the food and like, we don't really have room here.
I'll have to go back to Steakhouse.
Supposedly their breakfasts are really good.
That seems weird.
Supposedly they're really good.
I guess. Although, I think breakfast is breakfast for the most part.
Is it?
For the most part. Like, go to one restaurant, you go to...
For
breakfast,
if you ate
anyway.
at one, you ate at them all.
I'm not a very sophisticated breakfast eater. Like, I usually don't get waffles or Belgian waffles, or I get eggs, bacon, which I'm trying to shy away from, toast, hash browns. That's it. So it's basically the same usually wherever you go for at least what I order. But I guess if you order a certain thing, so if you like have higher standards for your breakfast, then I guess so. Because it feels like it's personally just a very simplistic menu, whereas dinner,
For
lunch and
Steakhouse
dinner,
or just breakfast in
just
general?
breakfast in general.
Oh, okay.
Like, it can be bigger, but I mean, it just seems like breakfast is not. It doesn't have to be that big.
Well, their featured thing on the breakfast menu, because they're a steakhouse, is New York steak and eggs. And I'm pretty sure that'd be pretty damn tasty.
Okay. That's true.
And then they have some of the other stuff: build your own omelet, eggs Benedict, and the American breakfast. It's kind of like a Denny's Grand Slam,
Right.
I guess, which is
Breakfast
what
is
you compare.
breakfast. The New York steak definitely sounds like something special for them, because that steak is going to be really good, as opposed to sometimes when you get steak and eggs from other places, the steak is not really the top of the line of the steak because you're getting it for breakfast, I guess.
like, can I get that with the dry rub on there? The Steakhouse 55 signature dry rub? What? Just do it, trust me. This
There
is
you
how I
go.
like it. It's like, customer's always right.
Don't question me. Just do it.
The chef came out here. He wants to meet you. He wants to see who's ordering a steak like this.
So that actually would be what I'd get, probably, because I'm at a steakhouse. So, of course,
You're not
that
gonna
makes
get
the
the
most sense.
Buttermilk stack?
That seems kind of pointless. Anything that's not
It's
steak.
served with whipped butter, warm bananas Foster, or warm berries.
So it comes with berries, bananas, and butter. And or butter.
Or.
Essentially, like the bananas Foster, it's, they're done in a certain way, but it's basically bananas.
Yeah, so you basically get bananas or berries on
Right.
your French
I was gonna
toast,
say.
on your pancakes, on your...
It's like there's only so much they can do to make it really, like, worth going there for breakfast. For those things, anyways. Like, you can't really touch it up so much.
It's funny, they also have a breakfast burrito for $12.
Classy. There we go. Now,
The sunrise burrito. Scrambled eggs, chorizo, potatoes, and cheese in a flour tortilla with pico de gallo, guacamole, and sour cream on the side.
I admit I wasn't expecting the chorizo at the steakhouse place. That caught me off guard. Like, I thought it would have been actually more likely to be a steak breakfast burrito somehow. That'd be the meat in it, because the
You'd figure that
steakhouse.
steak would be in more of their menu items.
It'd be
It's
prominent
only
in
the
most-
steak and eggs.
Yeah, it'd be somehow they'd get it into each one, because that's assumably their biggest thing is this. You're going there for the steak.
And what makes it breakfast is that, well, if you just got the steak by itself, it'd be a juicy 7-ounce certified Angus steak.
Sounds good.
And that's a dinner.
And that's dinner.
But if you add farm fresh eggs and toast or a bagel, then it becomes breakfast.
Then it's breakfast. So basically, you can have steak in the morning, steak in the evening, steak at supper time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except you'd kind of upgrade your choice of your cut of meat as the day goes on.
Ah.
So you get New York steak, and then you probably get like a strip, and then probably like a filet or tenderloin.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's good for the old heart.
I'm sure it is.
Because it'll work out. Kind of thing. But yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, like, with a filet, all you really need to do to make it good is get a really good dry rub on there. And then make sure you have a garlic butter on the side to finish off the steak once you're done cooking it on the grill. And that's like, you only touch the meat 3 times. Once to put it on the grill, once to flip it, and then once to take it off the grill.
If you're doing it correctly.
Yeah.
Have you done that before? Just cook steaks on your grill? No,
Yes.
you
So,
grill.
like the barbecue thing that I have out in the backyard, that's it has a cast iron grate, so I fired that up, got it nice and hot. And the steaks that we had were actually from Walmart, so they had like little filet. I think they were like probably 6 ounces each or something, and they were wrapped in bacon, so they would hold together, and the bacon would kind of infuse with the oils and stuff. And then I made my own dry rub with some of the stuff that I had here, like thyme, coriander, rosemary, basil, parsley, like all that stuff. Kind of put that into an empty shaker bottle I had, and rub that all over the steak, like salt, pepper, all that. Throw that on the grill, and then what happens is some of the seasoning comes off, so then it's not as intense. The other one that's left on there kind of crusts over, so you get a nice kind of crunchy flavor border all around your steak. And then when you pull it off, when it's finally done, well, before you pull it off, then you brush it with the garlic butter, and then you let it rest, so then everything has a chance to kind of congeal and infuse together and everything. And then you eat it, and it's really good because you only flipped it one time. That makes it tender, and then the flavor comes from the seasoning and the butter, and then a little bit from the meat. Because the filet usually doesn't have that much flavor to it. Like if you wanted flavor, you'd go more for a sirloin. Then that has more of that kind of beefiness to it.
Oh, it sounds so good. Now I'm hungry for steak.
Well, the thing is, like Jack in the Box, they took that concept in a way and they applied it to their burger. Like if you had have you tried the Buttery Jack?
No, not yet.
I've tried it. I want to say twice now. Yeah, I think twice. No, 3 times actually. So the first time I had it, it was actually pretty good. And I just ordered it straight off the menu, like, oh, I want the Buttery Jack. It's
What's
like,
the Buttery Jack?
Basically, the regular burger, they put it on, like, I guess, artisan bread instead of regular hamburger bread. That brings out the flavor more. And it's a lighter bread, too. So the bread helps, but the main feature of it is the patty. And the patty, they season it, and then it's covered in garlic butter, or they brush it with garlic butter or something. And they serve it to you, so it kind of applies that same steak principle, but to a burger. So the first time, I guess it was made how it's supposed to be made, and it's like, oh, this is actually pretty good. I like it. Second time I went, it's like, it's not that good. It tastes like a regular burger. Was I just like kind of wowed that first time? Like,
you can only do it one time.
So the third time I went, I was actually going with one of my coworkers, and we kind of were talking about it. It's like, what makes it really good is the garlic butter. So it's like, I wonder if we can get that on the side. So you order that on the side, like make it the normal way, and then I want extra garlic butter on the side. And they give you one of those like little like solo containers with the lid on there, those little plastic ones with the garlic butter in there, no charge. So that was cool. Got that burger, poured some of the garlic butter on there, and then ate it, and that made a huge difference. So you have to have enough butter on there. So you tell them to make it with extra butter, or say, like, can I get some of the extra garlic butter on the side as well? And that's your, I guess, Jack in the Box
policy.
hack.
Yes. There's your Jack in the Box hack of the day.
Hack of the day.
Oh.
Secret.
I mean,
Kind
it
of
sounds
secret menu
good.
item.
I've been trying to eat a little better, but I always like to try interesting things.
That's pretty interesting. I would go.
Hmm.
I would recommend that. With the stipulation that you get extra garlic butter
Right, because that's what
in
apparently
in a
makes it.
side container. Because it's inconsistent in how they make it. Like, some places will make it right and they'll put a bunch of it on there, and other places will kind of be stingy with the garlic butter, which just makes it like a regular burger. Like, I didn't
Congratulations
order.
on missing the point.
Yeah. So if you get that, you're good. And that, ordered that way, I would highly recommend it.
The right way.
Yes, with the extra garlic butter on the side.
Gotta hack that.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing, they changed their menu or how they serve food. So if you get fries from Jack in the Box and you order to dine in, they actually give you less fries because now it comes in a basket. So they just kind of estimate this is medium fries and dump it in your thing. Or if you order value fries, it's like, I think this is about value amount. So it's not really set. But if you order to go, they can't just dump it in a bag. They have to use the fry containers.
Ah.
So I guess that's a way that they're trying to save money from dine-in and takeout. So just order takeout.
And
So
then
that way
dine in.
you'll get, for sure, get the right amount of fries. You won't get more, but at the same time, you won't get less either. Which, if you dine in, more often than not, you'll get less.
Well, I wonder if you complain if they'll just give you one. It's like, I don't think this is...
That's not medium.
That's not a medium. Because, I mean, on the other side, it's open to interpretation. So if you're like a problematic customer, you're like, I ordered a medium. This isn't a medium. This is obviously a small. Give me more fries. If you're like that, then already, so you'd be like, okay, you can probably get more. But if you're not that way, then probably go with
Then
it.
you're already breathing heavy. You're like,
It's like, sir, we're doing this for your own good. We can't give you any more fries. Legally, we cannot give you more fries because we cannot
I'm
assist.
cutting you off. You had your limit for the day.
Yes, we cannot, in good conscience, assist.
As a matter of fact, I will take the keys away from you so you cannot drive back
you
home.
cannot be trusted, sir. Walk it off. No, really, just go for a walk. Come back, we'll give you your keys back.
And then another thing, continuing with the food theme, Chipotle secret menu. Just had that for lunch today, and I got their nachos off their secret menu, the Chipotle nachos. So what they do, they basically make a burrito bowl in that same kind of paper bowl container, but instead of rice as your base, they grab a bag of chips and dump it in there, and that's your base. And I don't know if it was a fluke or something, or if it's just made that way, because it costs more than the bowl, depending on where you go. Some places will charge you just the bowl price, or the places will charge you the bowl plus the chips. And it depends. Almost like a quesarito, some places will charge you a burrito and a quesadilla, so instead of paying like $7, you pay $11. Which is pointless because all they're doing is just adding extra cheese to your thing.
Right.
Yeah. So like in that case, you're like, I don't want it. I'm not paying that much for it. Like, it's just extra melted cheese. not getting two things. But yeah, going back to the nachos, the guy that started putting the meat on there, it was almost like a hot dog, where the chips were the bun, and then he laid down a thick line of barbacoa beef, like right down the middle, where it was already starting to fall off. So he's like trying to balance it, and then he added in. He's like, "Oh, what else do you want?" I was like, "I want this and this and this and this." So like cheese, the salsa, the pico de gallo, the corn, the sour cream, like all this other stuff on there. So they're like, "Oh crap, this is a bowl and it's getting pretty huge." So my coworker, he got just a regular burrito bowl, and then mine was like double his size. Like they mounted his with lettuce, but in terms of the actual content, like meat, I got like at least 3 times more meat than he did.
Huh.
And that was delicious.
All the giant mound of food.
Yes. So definitely try those secret menu items at Chipotle.
I usually
if they
get the
do it right.
quesarito. I don't really notice what they charge me for it, because by then I'm pretty much already committed to getting it, so I'm like, fine. Plus, if I'm eating there, I'm just like, whatever. I know what I'm in for.
Well, the other thing they have there too, in addition to the quesarito, is the burrito dilla.
It seems like, yeah. So you're explaining
So
it to
it's
me.
like quesarito, quesadilla, burrito.
It's
And then,
basically the quesadilla
is
version of it.
quesadilla. Wait, no, burrito dilla is burrito quesadilla.
So you get less than you would if the other way around, and it's more like a quesadilla. It's basically a quesadilla
Yeah,
with
it's
the burrito inside.
Burrito filling in there, so they don't put the full amount of burrito stuff in there. They put like half that, but you get charged
Do you get
the
charged half of that?
quesadilla price plus, well, the quesadilla with meat price plus, I think, depending on some places, they'll charge you per topping or per side that you add in, which I think is lame, but whatever.
Whatever.
The person in front of us actually ordered that, the burrito quesadilla. And I looked at it and like, there's barely anything in there. Like, they put down a layer of cheese, throw on some rice and some, like, a little bit of meat and some salsa, more cheese, and then they wrap it in foil and say quesadilla, and they put in that back warmer press thing that they have. Like, there you go. Like, that's kind of lame. I'd rather have a quesarito.
Yeah, at that point, so if you're going to mix it up anyway, might as well get that.
Because all they do is just throw cheese in, fold it in half, melt it, then they peel open the tortilla and just start making a burrito out of that. So you basically just have a layer of melted cheese in there, which makes a huge difference.
Get the cheese on, nice ring of cheese on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I that's what I usually get. I mean, if I'm in for it, I mean, it's a lot of food though. I think I used to eat it at Chipotle more often, but
I used to double fist those.
man, can't roll like that anymore. Even when I go this one time, I'm like, never again. I mean, it's only because of what I order. I could order smaller or different things.
Well, the thing with the nachos, it's actually lighter than the burrito or the bowl because you don't have all that rice in there. Like, the chips are way lighter than that, but you still have the beans and all that stuff. Or whatever else you choose to add to it. But if you're making it, it's like you put less in, you still pay the same amount as if you ask for more. Except for the guacamole. They charge like $2 for guac or something.
Yeah. I'm like, do I really want it?
You're like, yeah, and I can live with that.
Yeah, exactly. It's usually how it goes. Like, I would like, no. I'm not going to get the extra. Because there's always so much going on in that burrito or whatever you get anyway that it's likely to be missed anyway. So you're like, I'll save my money. I've got enough flavors going on in here. It's enough insanity. Delicious, delicious insanity.
I like it. So yeah.
Speaking of Disneyland, segued.
Disneyland. Speaking of,
We were talking about Mexican food, right?
And that leads into Disneyland because they have a restaurant there, Rancho del Zocalo. That
There
serves
you
Mexican
go.
food.
I never eat there. Okay. I do every once in a while when I get done, I end up in the area. I go, I think I'm hungry now.
Well, that's because you're like, burnt tortilla is so much better.
I've got my place in my heart.
It's like, but that's by your house. This is Disneyland. You're here.
I am there.
You got to have modified Mexican food.
I've got to have the modified Mexican food. You seem to say.
Tex-Mex. Wait, is it still Tex-Mex?
I don't even know. I don't even know what Tex-Mex is.
Well, they have a Mexican food station and they have like a barbecue station. I don't remember. It's been a while. It's been a while since I was there. I've been trying all these other places now. Yeah, trying to remember, but I can't.
But, well, you're talking, I think, that Indiana Jones had their, but not.
Oh, I thought you were talking about food.
Oh no, well, because we were there, and I was like thinking about Disneyland because you were telling me about Indiana Jones that had their 20th anniversary of the ride.
Yes.
Did we talk about that on the podcast about about opening day for that ride?
Yeah,
like
we
way
did.
back in what would that put
Like
that
all
in
the
now?
switchbacks and
95?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, do math.
20,
Do math.
2015.
Come on.
25.
Come on, brain.
I can't do it.
I can math.
I can't shake him.
But
So
now it's the 20th anniversary.
Yeah, it's the 20th anniversary, and they had it was an AP only event, so annual pass holders,
I'm an annual pass holder.
and it was an after hours party.
I don't remember getting my invite though.
But that's kind of sad in a way, well, or eye opening, however you want to see it. But that's the last e-ticket ride that Disneyland ever got. Everything else has been like less than that, or just kind of enhancements to existing rides.
Well, what was the other new ride since then? Winnie the Pooh?
Rocket Rods.
Was that after?
That was supposed to be the e-ticket ride, and then that went down really fast, and then Winnie the Pooh came out, and that was like...
Way after.
Yeah,
And
like
that
a
ain't an
D
e-ticket ride. If that, it's a dark
Or
ride.
C-ticket
Maybe
ride.
C-ticket. Yeah, I think so. Not a bad ride, according to some people, the worst ride ever, but okay, but definitely not an e-ticket. But yeah, I mean, there's just no room to put rides in there. That's the problem, I think, right? Mostly.
Well,
Without taking something else out.
no, they still have room. Like, there's some dead space out in between Small World and Tomorrowland, where the motorboat
Oh, right.
used to be.
Well, the smoking area is now.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could get
because they try to blend the smoke with the exhaust from the Autopia.
Huh.
Even though I think the Autopia runs on natural gas, or
it smells
No, biodiesel,
like
or-
a gasoline station or like exhaust fumes. So,
biodiesel, I think.
maybe they'll bring the motorboats back then. Yeah. Do you know why they got rid of the motorboats?
I just remember someone went off the rails one time, and they were stuck on the shore.
Huh.
And I'm like, how did that happen? Like, oh.
Maybe just didn't get a lot of people through there or something. Because I
Yeah.
remember, I think, riding on them.
The string didn't do anything. It just was a free spinning wheel.
Could you control...
You just control the throttle input.
Oh. Ramming speed.
Like, we're going so fast.
They're walking along the same speed.
They're walking faster.
They're walking faster. Yeah, but they got rid of the boats, but they kept the lagoon-ish area.
Well, they expanded the kind of deck patio area out, which I think was the old loading area.
Ah,
And then they turned that, added tables, and that became a smoking area.
which kind of bums me out. I mean,
And then they took away that as a smoking area when they opened up that village. No, not the village house. The one that sells the turkey legs, chimichangas, and that food station. The little building there. Then they turned that into the dining area for that, and they kind of booted the smoking people from section from there to the Autopia.
right, yeah, there's that section that's along the path kind of thing. Just
by the Matterhorn, and where you just have Autopia and Matterhorn and a walkway.
right.
And that's the smoking area.
Oh, okay. So that area is not the part that extends out it's not
Into the
smoking.
water is no. It's just dining area now.
That seems like a nice place just to hang.
Yeah, it's
I
one of those
think-
like little secret-y... well, not secret.
I never hang out there, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that might be a nice place to just sit back and relax. I don't know
during a busy day. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know if a lot of people hang out there because I'm always busy running from place to place that I never really take that into account. I gotta go more often so I could just relax. Although the parking lot
For
itself
the-
is a pain in the butt.
before the prices increases again.
Again, it did, didn't it? Just recently?
Yeah, I think that was in the last podcast.
Oh my
Very tight.
goodness.
So
I don't know if I'm going to renew
sticker
again.
shock.
I don't think so. Unless, like, yeah, I probably won't renew again. At best, maybe get something when a new ride eventually opens up again.
A new land.
A new land
'Cause
or
I know,
something. Because, yeah, at this
like
point.
they're gonna try to run the 60th promotion as long as they can, and kind of have that lead into Star Wars. But they haven't even started construction on Star Wars. Everything's still conceptual.
Right. Like we were talking about. It's like, it could
Yeah.
be here.
I mean, they're working their way towards finalizing the plans, but none of that's gonna be announced till like around the time the new movie comes out.
Yeah. Oh, well. See, yeah, so, I mean, I still have my passes for the 60th, so I'll probably go check out whatever they do for this anniversary.
The Matterhorn is definitely getting a makeover like Alice did, Alice in Wonderland. So it's going to have like new show scenes, maybe projection mapping, new animatronics, definitely.
This is still going to be kind of rocky.
Yeah, the track's not changing, the cars aren't changing.
I figured.
It's just the show scenes, like what you go through. It's going to look maybe a little bit more entertaining.
Okay. I always get distracted by the rockiest ride in the wilderness, as I like to think of it. It's pretty bumpy. But at least to me. I mean, other people apparently
It's
don't
pretty
notice.
ass-poundy.
It's pretty rough, and like, okay, now I feel like I've just been tenderized a bit. But it feels like, it makes me think that, man, they've never updated this since they built it. Like, I'm sure they have, but I just feel like, yeah, we got it right the first time. We're good. You don't need to update this at all. This is good sound 50s engineering.
The funny thing is, like, they upgraded the track for Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and the track was pretty smooth, like,
Yeah. I never
by
had-
comparison and everything.
Oh, but yeah, definitely.
But even if you're comparing it to, say, Space Mountain, I think it was probably a little bit rougher.
Well, yeah. It's just
So
it's
they ripped
smooth.
out all the track for when they redid the ride, and they put in brand new track. And I know it had issues before, like the track wasn't built with enough supports in there, so there were times when it kept cracking, especially around those like bends where the train just flies through. So
I thought you were going to say flies off. I'm like, oh,
no.
I think you noticed something like that.
So there are people always like doing welding repairs on there and stuff to like fix everything. So then they just did something where the replacement track has like supports like every like foot or something.
Okay.
So that's like super durable and steady now. And then like, yeah, now it's smooth as glass, even smoother than Space Mountain. It's like, yeah, that's what they should do to the Matterhorn.
But I mean, I went on Thunder Mountain last time I was there, and like I saw the changes, visual changes, but
Yeah.
the ride itself felt essentially the same. They didn't change anything to the track. They changed the track, but not the layout, right?
Yeah.
You still do the same stuff.
Right.
It just smoothed it out and added the visual effects.
Yep.
That's okay. So I did get the gist of the ride. I hadn't been on it for a long time, and I kind of enjoyed the ride. It's not one of my like top rides, but I still like going on it.
It's one of my top rides because of the goat trick. Sit in last car, you go up the last chain hill where the goat is like chewing on not the last one, second to last. The goat's chewing on the stick of dynamite. You just face your body towards him the whole way down and stare at him. So then you get disoriented because you actually do like almost a corkscrew.
But you don't want to do it too early, otherwise they'll yell at you.
Yeah, you have to wait till you crest the hill, and the cameras can't see you anymore. Then you turn, and then you can't do anything.
There you go. Pro tip. Otherwise they'll yell at you like they did me.
Like, face forward.
Yes. Who's God? Kind of thing. Like But yeah. So yeah, pro tip.
Yeah.
Crest the hill first. Kind of thing.
Yeah, but going back to the Indiana Jones thing.
Indiana
so 20
Jones.
years. And I guess the event they had, like, they brought back Tony Baxter to kind of give, like, a little Q&A session and presentation.
Obviously, Tony
in
Baxter.
the Jamboree area.
Who?
What?
Who are we talking about?
Tony Baxter.
Okay.
The presentation area?
No, who's that?
Oh, he's a Disney Imagineer.
We didn't all memorize Disney Imagineers.
Sorry.
Assume that some of us are a little
You gotta
less.
stop me.
A little
But he's
less
the one who's
in the know.
responsible for the new Fantasyland remodel, where
Okay.
now it has that kind of German Bavarian kind of
Right,
village
right.
feel to it. Splash Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain,
Oh, so he's done
Indiana Jones. Like, he's worked on a whole bunch of stuff.
like since then, or like the newer stuff.
Well,
The-
he's one of the last Imagineers to actually have worked with the original Walt Disney's original Nine Old Men. I think it's Nine Old. Yeah, the ones who like helped open the theme park, and then he kind of took a lot of that old-fashioned advice and everything to heart. So his design perspective is from that past era. And now, well, he's retired already for like at least a year, I think. So he's not doing any Imagineering stuff, but he's like, I'm still going to be here as a mentor. If you need to contact me or need guidance, like, I'll be here. Because I believe in the vision that Walt Disney tried to put forth. So then they brought him in to talk about the attraction. And since it's been exactly 2 decades to the date from yesterday, they had the after hours party where everyone got in attendance got like one of those decoder cards again. But instead of having an AT&T advertisement on the back, it says 20th anniversary Indiana Jones Adventure annual pass holder event 2015 to mark the occasion.
Now, I'm an annual pass holder, but I didn't get to go to the event.
You could have gone,
Spec-
just showed up.
Well, I didn't get an announcement about it.
Yeah, they do a lot of their stuff now. You have to follow the Disney Parks blog, and they'll announce it there, or follow those like fan sites where if Disney does an announcement, then they'll do an announcement. And they've been doing a lot of things kind of last minute or like kind of quietly, not so public, because it is a limited space thing for that too.
Well, here at the Taco Nights podcast, we rely on you for that information. You are our go-to, but I might have missed that part of the last.
Well, I didn't have
To-
that information last week, but by the time I got it, it was already too late.
Well, then that was a small window of time. Then.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you showed up on the day of, they actually had the signs out saying, a 2-part sign. So the top half of the sign read, panel discussion, Big Thunder Ranch Jamboree, 9 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Please arrive 20 minutes early. Space is limited. So you had to show your annual passport to get into there. And then that's when they gave you the free stuff, like souvenir map, the decoder card, and what else was it? Oh, a schedule of what was happening that day. So then at the end of the night, then everyone would ride Indiana Jones, of course. And then throughout Adventureland, they had the live entertainment. So they had I'm trying to read through my notes. So they had different entertainment pieces. They had like an Indiana Jones character like running around the land every so often, and then kind of running up like Tarzan's treehouse, and They had one of those live bands playing.
Indy and the Joneses.
I don't know, but they were all wearing fezzes. And they had like a little stage built by the treehouse. And then there's a guy dressed like Indiana Jones on this ball. Well, kind of like the boulder, but think of like a giant beach ball, but more sturdy than that. And he's like bouncing on top of it, rolling around on it and all that, going around. They had Madame Mara to read your fortune, give you insights to the future. Yeah, but pretty much a thing where they themed it to Indiana Jones and made it more fun and interactive, I guess. But
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything about food or any special offerings. It's just basically the panel, the talk, learn about the ride, and then ride the ride after getting your free sous vide.
I was surprised you didn't go. Oh, wait, you don't have an
I don't
annual
have
pass.
an annual pass
Whatever.
anymore.
Oh, right.
So I'm trying to plan like significant trips at this point. But I'm still keeping up with all the information.
And
Like,
this is where we
look
get
at
it
this.
from you.
And then I'll have
Anything
you,
I need to
like,
know so I can... I've had an annual pass. What do I need to know? What do I need to know? Tell me what I need to know.
Well, there's some new stuff that's coming out for the future.
Like tomorrow?
Barney Stinson is going to be the host. Well, not him.
Of
Neil Patrick
Disneyland?
Harris.
You have to be more specific. He hosts many, many things.
The host of World of Color.
Ah, there we go. Right? You could host basically anything in Disneyland.
Yeah, so he's going to be hosting, what is it? The World of Color, like, not just, like, as a narrator, but pretty much like how he does for California Scream, where he does a countdown. It's like, all right, sit back, heads back, and 3, 2, 1, and then launch. For World of Color, he's actually going to be, I guess, like a face in there too. So he'll do his thing, being awesome NPH. And then he'll like have little segments where he's like, and kind of recounting the history of Disneyland for the past 60 years.
Okay. So it's going to be
So-
like a dedication thing to Disneyland. Didn't
But yeah, more
Like-
integrated into World of Color.
like Steve Martin did something like that for an earlier
For the
anniversary?
50th, and that was at the Lincoln Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln Theater.
Right.
And that was the one where they kind of reshot and he kind of retold some of the stuff of, oh, this is the history of Disneyland. Let's take a look at the clip and kind of do a little bit of voiceovers.
Right, right.
And where'd it go?
Professional.
Yes.
That's us here.
So, the World of Color Lagoon is actually filled back in again. So they're gonna, it's not empty anymore. They did whatever upgrades they needed to do. So they're gonna be showing the old World of Color in its current form, original form, before they release the all new World of Color.
I kind of like the old World of Color.
The new
I
one's
haven't
gonna
seen
be
it for a while
tied
because
in
the last few
60th.
times I've gone, it's been during Christmas, so they've done the Christmas one.
right. It's Frozen.
Right. Both of them, yeah. So it's been a while since I saw the original one. I like the original one, so I'll have to go and make sure I get
Yes.
over there before they take it
So
away.
you have to do it before May 22nd.
Plenty of time to totally waste time and not go.
So it's going to be World of Color Celebrate, the Wonderful World of Walt Disney is the official title. And it's going to have more interactions with those, the light up magic ears, the wand, and the hats.
Oh,
or
right,
the Mickey
right.
mini headband, I mean. Yeah, so kind of be inspirational but entertaining at the same time. And it's like, look, it's a little mini history lesson.
That's what we like.
Yeah. And then also for Disneyland, oh, there it is. So Sleeping Beauty Castle, they finished their construction there, so now you don't have scaffolding and that kind of sketch drawing, concept drawing of what they wanted to originally put there. But it did make for a unique photo op for that
One
month that it was up.
Once in a lifetime opportunity to see it not as pretty as it usually is.
Unless you wanted to have like a sketch background, take full-size background sketch to take a picture in front of.
Right. But most people want castle. They want full frontal castle.
Yes. So that's open, and then the Sleeping Beauty walkthrough, that's open too.
Okay.
So slowly things are starting to come back.
And when's the 60th again? Officially? Like when they're
it's going to kick off towards the end of May, like to tie in with the official kickoff of summer, which is Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, right. Okay.
But the actual anniversary birthday is in July.
Okay. Hot
17. And then some of the new stuff, they have a new popcorn bucket. So it's a Cinderella pumpkin coach popcorn bucket. If you're into collecting those. I don't know if I want to get this one. It looks kind of princessy.
Not so much your thing, you say.
Maybe Claudia will want it.
Whatever you
But
need to tell yourself so you can get it.
It does look like a coach. I think they probably could have done without the sticker of Cinderella in there. Just kept it classy as just a coach. Like, it's her coach. But
Yeah.
anything to sell more. And then they're coming up. They're doing the Extravaganza Easter egg hunt again. Did you do that last year?
No.
But that's the one where you pay $5 to get a map.
Oh,
California Adventure, and you go
I
look for
take
the
that back.
Easter
We
eggs.
did do that. It wasn't on. I think it went on for a while, so we caught it. I think near to the end of when it was, because Carrie she had heard about it and she wanted to do it. I think so. We caught it later on because it went on for a little while.
Yeah. So that starts on March 27th, and you hunt for 12 Easter eggs, and then it's the same kind of thing that they had last year, where you don't choose what character you get; it's random.
Yay!
And then if you want to trade, then you can trade with.
And there's two, and I think there was different ones at each park. Like Disneyland had their own, California Adventure had different ones.
Right.
So even more opportunity to blindly throw your money at blind eggs.
Yeah. So you get one of a dozen different 2-inch tall eggs, featuring all new characters for the new year. So I guess it's going to be different. So you can get the map at the Elias Company, at California Adventure, and at the Disney Showcase in Disneyland. That's where you claim your eggs. And then for the maps, you can buy them from anywhere. Or more places. So you can get them at the Disney Junior Kiosk, the Elias Company, Oswald's, Raider Spring Curios, and Treasures in Paradise at California Adventure. And then Disneyland is the Disney Showcase, Fairy Tale Treasures, Little Green Man, Store Command, Pieces of 8, Pioneer Mercantile, and Stromboli's Cart. So, more money.
Exactly.
And if you're trying to collect all 12, that's $60 you're gonna get.
If you get them all in your
you can
first attempt.
Trade them, or you just wait and go on eBay and buy them for like $80. Or
There you
something.
go.
Have someone else do all the work.
Exactly.
And I think that's about it for the Disneyland news. They just been, like, as you're going, there's just going to be scaffolding up everywhere, and the resort's slowly turning into like a blue and silver.
Okay.
For the 60th diamond thing to tie in with that. And it was actually blue before for the Year of a Million Dreams, if you remember that. Like, they had a blue color scheme all over the park. And then after that ended, then they turned everything rainbow. And then now it's going back to blue.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, tried and true blue.
Yes. And then the colors on the castle, they're less gold now, they're more silver. So more muted. Because once they apply the diamonds and stuff, it can't clash. Snow White's Grotto and Wishing Well is still closed because they're working on that. Peter Pan's still closed, still working on that. Matterhorn said before, still closed, still working on that.
Well, I'm sure anyone going will unfortunately find that out.
And then, there's a fire at Small World. That was on the news briefly. I guess one of the firework embers set off some of the brush behind the Small World facade. But it was on the facade closer to Toontown, so that's really just an extension of the fake front. It's not anywhere near the actual show building, so they put out the fire. I think it burned for like 30 minutes before they put it out. So it charred that part of it. And then once they're like, oh, you got the all clear, they let people back on the ride.
There you go.
But they're working on Small World for that. Olive Critter Country still closed. Still hibernating. And it's going to open supposedly next month, early April. Supposedly. So that's going to include upgrades to the Hungry Bear restaurant and the refurb of Splash Mountain, but everything else is still pretty much the same. And Innoventions is the last thing on here, where they kicked out the Home of the Future, which is more like Home of Today, presented by Microsoft.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, look, we have this already.
Look.
And this is actually old.
Technology from a few years ago.
Right. So that does it for Disneyland. And California Adventure still has a Condor Flats area closed because that's going to be rethemed to Grizzly River Airfield.
Okay.
And then the Taste Pilot's Grill is becoming a table service restaurant instead of a counter service. World Colors back open. Ariel's Grotto's back open. So you can get your expensive seafood dishes again.
Yay. No.
The Redwood Creek Challenge Trail is open again. Always keeps going down, but I think it's just more popular or more trafficked because you don't have to take a boat to get there, like in Disneyland or Tom Sawyer Island.
Right.
And then the Grizzly River one is still down, but that's supposed to open up again like in a month or so. And then Luigi's Flying Tires is now closed.
Right.
Well, from last week too. I said that before, but can't go on that anymore. So, yay. New rides. Questions?
No. I get it. I'm with
You
you.
look sleepy.
A little tired.
And the only other thing that's really Disney related, I would say, is the movie stuff. Age of Ultron. So the new trailer just came out today. Looks pretty awesome. You saw it. What do you think of it?
Yeah, it was good. It was I mean, it was just a lot more action and stuff from the movie, and I was already sold on the movie, so I liked watching it. But I mean, I cannot be any more sold on watching it. So it was just cool to see, cool stuff to see. But I felt like they had already done it. They had already got me, and I think a lot of the people that wanted to watch it saw the other trailers like, okay, I'm already in. So this was just more just bonus kind of thing, like more trailer. But I don't want to say, I don't know if it sold anyone extra, because anyone who was probably sold was already sold on the previous one.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, the people who already want to see it, it wasn't really meant for them.
Right.
It was meant to capture the rest of the people who still weren't convinced on it. Like, the people are like, comic book? What? What's Marvel?
Yeah.
It's only been in your face for how many years now. But I kind of felt like this trailer gave away a little bit too much.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that. Like, it gave away more, but I mean, I don't think you construct the plot of what happens between them. Like, they get their butt kicked by Ultron. That was probably going to be a given whether you'd seen a trailer or not. You knew there had to be at some point where they were not going to win, so that one you could have guessed.
They also
before.
had those moments where they kind of gave those little jokes that happen in the moment, and they feature that prominently in the trailer.
Right, but you just gotta assume
eh.
that those aren't the only ones, but you gotta show something there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they didn't talk as much in the other one, the last one. Like in the very first one, they had that whole scene where they were just in the, I think, Stark's place, and they were messing around with Thor's hammer and stuff.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, so
left a lot to the imagination.
Right, but it was its own scene. So, but I mean, they had all that dialogue there, and the next one didn't really have a ton of dialogue. It was mostly action. Not the last one.
So this is the eye candy trailer.
This one was kind of the middle between. Like you're saying, they had like a few scenes with good dialogue, and they had action. Whereas like the very first one seemed to be dialogue, no action. Second one seemed to be a lot of action, not a lot of dialogue. This one seemed to be a mix of both. Like you had the action scenes, but then you had the witty banter or banter at all.
And longer
between them. So it's kind of like this was the mixture of the two sides. Like, see, we can do the action, we can do the interesting dialogue bits. So maybe for those people that saw the last one, it's like, yeah, it's nice action, but I don't really care. Maybe this is something that could speak to them about the characters. Like, oh, that was a pretty interesting little tidbit that they did there. Maybe I'll go watch it. Not that big into action, maybe, but the dialogue seems at least slightly interesting. You know, the concepts they bring up, because they kind of explain the whole about Tony Stark. You piece together Tony Stark is the reason why Ultron exists, but he had good intentions, but they don't all see it the same way. Like him and Captain America don't see it the same way. Like,
yeah.
So you can see the conflict there. You don't know how it's resolved or anything, but you know there's conflict there. So you're like, ooh, I want to see how that comes out. So it was a nice little tease, in case you didn't know. That's like, ooh, they don't seem to be happy with each other kind of thing. I wonder how that's going to go. So I think it was fine. I don't think it gave away too much. I mean, you still don't know how Ultron's supposed to ultimately be defeated at all. So it's not like it gave away that part. If someone does die, maybe. I don't know. They didn't do anything to that. So I think it was good. I mean, like I said, I always say I'm the worst kind of, like, they gave away too much in the trailer kind of person, because I don't really analyze it that much.
But there are people out there who do.
Oh yeah, no, I'm willing to bet that there's like, oh, they gave away everything. What's the point of watching the movie now? Everything's ruined.
Like I could see the potential in that.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, they did give a lot away, but I don't want to dwell on it because then I'll figure it out.
You assume, but then now we're getting into I can make predictions based on trailers, and that's once you get into that area, you're like, okay, you can take an educated guess, but that's what it's going to be in theory, unless you nail it. But then that was mostly guessing anyway. So it's kind of like, yeah, I know how it's all going to end. It's like, okay, probably not, but go ahead.
And then, one of the things that they're doing, specifically Robert Downey Jr. is doing with the movie to tie in, is he's having a kind of charity donation event contest thing where you donate $10 to Julia's house through the omaze.com website, And if you do that, then he will proceed to awesome the crap out of you. His words.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
And you're supposed to go like have a breakfast at Randy's Donuts, which is funny because I worked close by to there before. Not very awesome-y. I guess more iconic than anything else. Just kind of like, it was in the movie and we're here.
Yes. Well, it's an iconic thing.
Can I eat on top of the donut?
But then, obviously, if you work around there, you're like, whatever.
It's kind of shady area, actually.
Right.
Yeah, and then you do indoor skydiving. You get a helicopter ride over the Hollywood sign. And then you get a custom gown or tux fitting before you meet Robert Downey Jr. himself for an epic motorcade arrival at the world premiere of Marvel's Avengers Age of Ultron, which is probably going to happen at the El Capitan. But the way I read this, it's like you don't even see Robert Downey Jr. till the end of the night. But you get to do all this other stuff beforehand.
Maybe.
But you got to suit up first before you meet him. Hence the custom gown or tux fitting. But for $10, that's for a chance to do that. That seems pretty cool. And you're helping a good cause. Omaze.com/RDJ.
There you go. Put in your $10 now.
Which I think is cheaper than the Star Wars one, right? When J.J. Abrams was doing it, wasn't that like $20 or $25?
No, I don't remember actually.
Yeah.
How much did you put in?
I never did.
Well, there you go.
That one was too popular. And I forgot, actually.
I just figured that was more likely what happened. Just like, I forgot. I knew something.
It's just trying to be cool. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that.
It's May 1st, I believe. It comes out. The movie does. Age of Ultron, Avengers Dose, as they say.
Yes, May 1st.
Right.
Followed by Ant-Man on July 17th.
That's pretty close on the heels.
Yeah.
But as I stated before in the podcast, not as sold on that. I need another trailer in me. Something really has a lot of oomph. Like basically every Avengers trailer has, but I mean, I can't expect that. That's Avengers, but something a little bit more pick-me-up. They had their dialogue one. That was kind of the last one, with smatterings of action. Now they need a nice, solid, action-y one. They're like, okay, I see. Hopefully.
Yeah, they didn't do that for Kingsman, though, right? It was just one trailer? Or was it two?
They probably had two.
I only saw the one that they had, but you saw it recently. What did you think?
I thought it was good, and everything you said in the last podcast is true. I mean, you can't... the trailer's fine, but you might as well just go if you're listening to us anyway, just go see the movie. It's a good movie. A lot of action. I think the best comparison would probably be James Bond meets Kill Bill kind of thing. The action scenes from Kill Bill kind of thing, with the spy kind of parts from James Bond.
With the humor of Red and Red 2.
Right. If you've seen Red or Red 2, that kind of humor, except with a more British spin. So a little bit more dry on some of the humor.
That's my kind of humor.
A little bit more dry on the humor. But yeah, mix that all together. You got good stuff. And a lot of action in it. So, I mean, if you're adverse to action, then maybe not for you. But everyone else, they have a lot of really good scenes in there. And a lot of interesting of the spy bits part, too, where they're in training and stuff. So, a lot to like in that movie, actually. So, definitely a recommended movie, just like Ben said. Definitely liked it. You said a lot.
That was a very good spoiler-free review.
Oh, you said a lot last time, so I'm just building on that because basically everything he said is true. It was really a good movie.
And then if you think about the trailer again or rewatch the trailer, it's just not very good.
Well, but then you can't complain that it spoiled everything because your main complaint was, it wasn't really about the movie, or didn't really tell enough about the movie. There you go. There's your non-spoiler free trailer. That apparently is not good because then it doesn't do anything.
No, it actually, like, I thought it gave away a little bit, but I guess you have to be looking for it.
But you said you didn't even like the trailer because you're like, don't watch the trailer, which is the point of the trailer.
Well, I saw the trailer after I saw the movie and like, wait, they showed this part here and they showed that part there. So if those scenes stuck with you in your head, you'd be watching the movie. It's like, wait, where's this scene going to come up? Where's this scene going to come up? It's like,
I don't even know if you do that because there's so much going on that you'd probably be surprised by the scene more than be waiting for it because you're constantly just thinking less about what's coming up, more like what's going to happen next kind of thing. Because, I mean, there's so many scenes in there where, like, awesome things are happening that it's not like a lull where, like, where's that scene going to come in here? You don't really have time to think about it because the next scene is something really cool or makes you think or something that you're, like, kind of, or at least caught up in the movie that you're, like, not even thinking about the trailer anymore. It's like, what are they going to do next? And then eventually the trailer part hits, like, oh, right, I saw that in the trailer. After you saw it, you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that kind of thing. Even though you'd seen it in the trailer, but you're just like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, but there's so much that happens all at once in the movie. You kind of be hard-pressed to keep that in mind as you watch it.
Right. Yeah,
maybe
that's what I mean.
You'd be more aware of it if you already saw it and it's like maybe your second or third go around.
Well, then you're aware of everything.
Yeah.
It's like, you're like, you know exactly what's going to happen. You're like, oh, this is going to be awesome.
Picking apart plot holes and stuff. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's when it gets, you might want to cut yourself off there. Leave the awesomeness there. Don't pick at it. Because there's probably...
Watch it once, wait for it to come out on Blu-ray and buy it then.
Yeah, don't need to pick at it. It's just enjoy it. Pick at it later.
Yes. Pick at it up in the stores when it comes out.
And they're probably going to do a sequel to it, which you were saying, like, they don't need to, which I agree.
It's wrapped up pretty nice right now. It's like...
Kind of, but I mean, kind of not, because by the end, the whole organization is kind of questioning, like, your main... by the end, it's like, you're like, what's going on? So it's not fully wrapped up by the end. They do, I mean, you get the bad guy, which you expect to happen, but it's not wrapped up. Like, the entire, what's going to happen next?
Does he become the new King Arthur?
There's a lot of
Merlin's
questions.
Still there.
There's questions at what happens to the organization. There's slight spoilers in this one, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
Right. I was trying not to say anything, but well, when you see it, that comment will make sense if you haven't seen it. But yeah, they leave it. I mean, it's buttoned up at the end, but I mean, there's enough room there where you could easily have another one without having to feel like, oh, this was tacked on. It's like, no, this is kind of the logical what happens the next day kind of thing, because they do just kind of leave it. Yeah, we won. Okay, the end. Kind of thing. If when you really think about it, you're like, oh, there's still unresolved stuff, like stuff goes down during the movie. You're like, I wonder how they're going to deal with that later, because that's kind of a big deal in the organization, but they never really wrap it up in there. Just like, yeah, that happened. Well, we better move on, kind of thing.
And yeah,
yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but basically, now that I've thought about it, because I was thinking, yeah, they kind of tied it up, and then when I really thought about it, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of, like, happily ever after, then the next day kind of stuff that, like...
The loose ends, it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah, they do, I mean, I guess it's spoilers, but you probably expect they do win the day by the end.
Yeah.
One way or another. It's not clean, but it happens. They do win the day. Not the cleanest victory, but they do. But then there's still a mess left in the wake of their victory that they're like, oh, we probably need to sort this stuff out. That they don't handle at the end, because they're like, you know what? Here's the end. Yay.
You know, I'm going to go out on a ledge and say it was Pacific Rim awesome.
Okay. I could go with that.
Pretty close to it.
And when there's some people that don't like Pacific Rim.
Well,
But then there's people that like
Pacific
Pacific
Rim. If you like Pacific Rim, you'll
then,
definitely
okay.
like this, yeah.
Just don't expect mechs, but expect the same level of awesomeness
Oh,
on a smaller
one
scale.
last question. I want to get your opinion on Sam Jackson in the movie. What do you think?
Interesting. Not playing your normal Samuel L. Jackson character, but still it's there. Like you can feel it. But when you see the movie, if you've seen it already, then you're like, it's really kind of weird, the one he plays. But
it's still awesome.
He's still awesome, and
awesome.
you can still see his badass side coming through. But it's much more subtle underneath this character he plays, kind of thing. And I think he has a sort of speech thing that he does that was his choice. I don't know if you were telling me that, or if I heard that somewhere else, but that was kind of his choice to go with that type of speech thing, which if you haven't seen it, then it'll make sense when you see it. But that was his choice, I've heard. Like, he wanted to do that for the character. That was originally a trait for the character, and he commits to it, and it's kind of like, oh, that's weird. But you're like, okay, it's Jackson. I'll go with it. It's Nick Fury. Okay, whatever. I'm in. Whatever.
I don't think that's how that works.
I don't want him to beat me up through the screen. So, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do, Sam. That's okay. He's both characters, right? He's undercover in that one as Nick Fury.
Yes.
Which you do see Nick Fury in the Avengers trailer. That was something interesting. I guess you expect him to be in there, but after the happenings of Cap America and goings-ons in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh yeah, that's starting up again.
Just in time, which is I was already looking forward to it.
It started already.
I was already looking forward to it, but now with Age of Ultron coming up, I doubt they'd drop the ball by really hoping for some really really cool crossover.
Yeah.
Either a lead up into the movie or something, because it's so perfect an opportunity at this point to just line it up that hopefully they don't like jump off and just crash and burn. Like, no, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s going to do their own thing. Like, why? This is so you have a show that's finally reached its good points. Like, everyone's starting to like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now as opposed to when it started. So people like the show.
I think it's because of that expectation. Like, everyone has that same expectation.
Well,
it's like the movie kind of spawned the TV show, and then now you have to feed back into it. It's only logical.
Yeah, it better. You're right. It fed out, and a lot of what happened in Cap America affects the fallout in a big way of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, it really did, like, work completely with it. So, that's the thing. Like, I think Thor: The Dark World barely had anything, and that was kind of to their detriment. They had a throwaway thing, which I guess spoilers, but by now they're both pretty old. But after the events that take place in Thor: The Dark World, where they just like mess stuff up, like they just break a bunch of buildings and stuff during their climactic fight. The thing in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is they're on cleanup duty for that.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the tie-in part. You're like, lame. Really? And it's like, okay. I like to think they learned their lessons. Like, you're going to have to bring it a little better than just, see, that happened in the movie, and we're there now cleaning stuff up. I'm like, okay, that's a tie-in technically, but wow, that's lame and lazy and stuff. So it seems like they learned the lesson, because the tie-in with Cap America and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is just awesome. They just really ran with what the movie presented in the storyline for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I think they learned their lesson. But
well, my prediction is
pain.
It doesn't matter. They're going to make a lot of money.
Well, that was already a given. I hope we at least get something good out of the money we're going to give them, which I predict will probably happen.
Now that they got Spider-Man, yeah.
Well, even Spider-Man's just the cherry on top.
Well,
even if they
the
didn't have
future
Spider-Man, they were already well on their way to just printing money anyway. So
true.
The Spider-Man thing is just gravy, just whatever, put it right on top, just right on top of it, because it's already an awesome mountain that I am looking forward to. I kind of forgot about Agents when we were talking, but now it's coming back because Agent Carter just finished its run in between. It's mid-season which I thought was interesting too, how they are jumping between Agents and Agent Carter kind of thing. As like once this series ends, and it moves into that one, and then once this one goes, it switches back to the other one.
Yeah, I still gotta catch up on that.
On Agent Carter.
Yeah, I'm almost done with it.
Yeah, it's a good little thing. Good ending. I kind of wish that it did. The ending had tied more closely into Agents, like since it's technically leaning back into it, but it did its own ending, which is fine. You know, it's not a bad thing. But I kind of had a feeling it's like, there's a stinger at the end of the series that has to do with the movies more than it has to do with Agents. But I wish they'd like had something where Agent Carter does something or leaves something in her series, and then when you go into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like they find the thing that she left in the last episode of her thing. That would have been pretty cool. Like if they'd done something like that,
right?
Or which they've done before already in Agents, where they've found things or documents she left already. They did it earlier before Agent Carter was a show, so maybe that they're like, we already did that. We don't need to do that again. That was before Agent Carter was a show, so we didn't have that.
Do we?
Or do we? But it was.
We do.
So, wait, I can't remember when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is on. Is that
Tuesdays.
on Tuesday? So was the first episode yesterday? Okay. I'll probably watch that hopefully tomorrow or something like that, because I don't really know much about what happened at the end of Agents. Like, I haven't read any of the comics related to that, but I noticed that a lot of people that do read those comics, they're like, oh, did you see that? That was awesome. Like, it's kind of the, I don't get it kind of thing. Oh, what happens with Sky at the end, and that whole ending thing made sense to people in the know, like comic book people that had read that stuff. And I've been catching up on comics, but that was outside of my scope. I hadn't read anything about that, which is kind of a bummer, because I like to try to know, but I had no idea what it means.
You can watch it through, go back, read it, and then rewatch it again with this newfound knowledge.
With newfound knowledge kind of thing. So yeah, I am looking forward to Age of Ultron and this next coming up movies, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I guess Ant-Man. I'm looking forward to another trailer for Ant-Man. Kind of. The trailer left me ambivalent at best. Like, I was like, yeah, okay. I didn't hate it, but I'm not breaking down my door to try to get to seeing it. Like Avengers 2, I'm like, I gotta buy my tickets. Even though we never tend to see anything opening weekend.
I think we did.
Which one? Not Guardians. We didn't see that. But we haven't seen anything together for a while.
Oh, us?
Yeah.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. The Taco Knights have not seen anything together for a while. Always see it separately. I gotta keep it separated.
Our schedules never line up.
Yeah, that's true. I can't remember the last thing we got to see together. Might have been Big Hero 6? Or was it was it Guardians? I don't think. Maybe it was. I can't remember. But hopefully we can see Agents. Hopefully we can see Avengers 2 together, and we'll give you our lowdown. We'll give you a quick synopsis, or not synopsis, but quick how we feel about it on the spot. We'll do a quick podcast right after.
Live from the theater.
Live from the theater. We won't even leave the theater. We'll do it in the theater. Okay, we can't do that. They'll probably kick us out. But hopefully we can get together and do something about it and tell y'all how it went. I mean, I can already tell you it's probably going to be awesome. Awesome. But we'll see later.
Jurassic World is coming out in June, too. So that's going to be June 12th. So you have May for Avengers Age of Ultron, Jurassic World in June, then Ant-Man in July, and then, like, way further down at the end, Star Wars.
So a lot of good movies coming up on this back end. So
Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
That already came out, though.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. Exactly. Totally missed it.
I
Already
did
out.
miss that.
Right. You and quite a few other people, apparently.
Terminator Genesis. July 30th. Kind of want to see that one.
Right.
There's going to be another Ted 2 coming out. If you like that first one. Fast and the Furious 7. Also coming out. Pixar's Inside Out. The Disney's Tomorrowland. The Good Dinosaur. Pixar for Thanksgiving. The Minions movie coming out in the summer.
That's your movie.
It's Claudia's movie.
Right.
And they've grown on me.
Right.
And I think from this list that I'm looking at, I think that's pretty much the ones that really stand out to me right now.
So as you can hear, a lot of movies coming in this back end of the year. Versus it was kind of light in the beginning, but pretty loaded up for bear.
Once summer hits, summer season on, then you're
it's gonna be pretty loaded to bear. So yeah, definitely get into those because definitely a lot of movie talk ahead of us. Good stuff coming up,
leading right into 2016, and then that whole slew of movies coming out from Warner Brothers and Marvel and everybody who's got something going on.
Got some superheroes to peddle.
Yeah.
All that's coming up. We're going to get into that, I don't know, maybe next time, because we got a lot of stuff to look at movie-wise.
Movie-wise.
We did a lot, yeah. Feel good. Looking forward to all that stuff finally coming up. And with that brings to the end of this episode of the Taco Knights podcast. You can find us on the Facebook, facebook.com/Taco Knights podcast. I got that right?
Yes.
Yeah, nailed it.
You can email us at Gmail. It's going to be tacoknightspodcast@gmail.com.
And you can find us on the Twitter machine at Taco Knights.
No podcast. Because it won't fit.
Right, not no podcast, just Taco Knights.
At Twitter at Taco Knights. There you go.
You put the Twitter at the beginning of that? Oh, if you're on Twitter.
If you're on Twitter, then it's at Taco
Knights.
Knights.
It's at Taco Knights. Okay.
And then just leave us reviews on iTunes. And
yes, if you like, we really appreciate reviews on iTunes. Good, bad, indifferent. Mostly good, but we're willing to change.
Just the good.
Just for you.
If it's bad, just email us.
yeah, you can just let us know that way. Because, the reviews help. Star us. Give us good things. And if we need to fix something, let us know. We'll do that. We can do that for you. Right?
Sure.
See? It's all about help. Or getting better. There we go. But with that, I think that's everything. Okay.
That is everything.
That is the everything.
Pork.
Yes, and that too. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Taco Knights podcast. I've been your host, Keikoa, and with me has been Ben tonight.
Adios, muchachos.
Yes. Thanks for listening. Till next time.